The hard shell made him feel like touching steel, and his heart went up to his throat, because fighting without knowing anything was the most dangerous thing. Lu Sha tribe. Qi Yi's didn't understand what kind of people Lu Sha tribe was. Because the people who were standing in the way of themselves were not the climate. But all of a sudden, countless people appeared around them. Although their realm was under their own, they were very powerful. These 10 people blocked Qi Yi's in the water prison, which made Qi Yi's a little difficult. Turning to look at Tao Li on the ground, she was sleeping soundly. Qi Yi's vomited her breath, because if she woke up, she would drag herself down. Thinking like this, he clenched the steel pipe in his hand and threw it at a person's leg. The minions around him still have no strength. Under the attack of Qi Yi Se, they scream one by one, and there is no voice on the table. Qi Knight see in the eye, turn round to one side of the strength of the poor crowd attack. But people on the other side didn't seem to want to let her go at all and besieged Qi Yi's. Qi Knight in a group of people in the struggle, very difficult, breathing heavily, holding the steel pipe hand are constantly shaking, sweating. And those people, obviously, haven't tried their best. He threw out a stick and knocked over a man. Suddenly, he heard a woman scream behind him, and suddenly thought, God, help me this cry. Immediately let everyone's eyes are focused on Tao Li. Qi Knight color scolded an idiot in the heart. Sure enough, the attack of all the people around him all attacks toward Tao Li. Qi Yi's was worried and turned to run towards Tao Li, but Tao Li in front of her screamed and ran away. This fool. Qi Knight color gas of roar, will in the hand of the steel stick toward chase Tao Li of person fly. After a few screams, several men behind Tori fell to the ground. However, a man behind Qi Yi's suddenly took advantage of this and slapped Qi Yi's on the back. Qi Knight suddenly a mouthful of blood spurted out, almost fell down, wiped the blood of a corner of the mouth, or ran toward Tao Li. Come here. Don't run, Qi shouts in the night. But the woman had already cried and ran about in the room. Qi Yi's face turned pale. After 2 steps, she had stopped panting and turned pale. Come and help me. I'm going to be killed. Tao Li cried out and ran towards Qi Yi's, but after 2 steps, she suddenly turned pale and fell to the ground with a plop. Qi Knight suddenly realized that the air may be toxic. He turned his head and looked at the man in front of him coldly, but the man in front of him laughed and came forward. The ecstasy I scattered in the air really works. After a while, you can't stand up. It's really a happy thing for everyone. Qi Yi's clenched her teeth, suddenly stood up and rushed to the man in front of her. But the man is not flustered at all, just raise a leg to come, 1 foot kicks on Qi Yi's belly, 1 foot kicks her to fall on the ground. This foot seems to have no power in Qi Yi's eyes, but his body just can't move, which makes Qi Yi's very helpless. He can only let that foot put on his stomach and fall to the ground. The man stepped forward 2 steps, grabbed Qi Yi's collar and said with a smile, such a beautiful man, how can he be a lion-like character? It's really bad. Said, raised a hand toward Qi Yi's chest to clap past. The fighting spirit of cyan color, although in Qi Yi's eyes there is no fierce appearance, but with Qi Yi's body now, she can't protect herself at all. Can turn around to dodge, raise a hand to split to grasp own hand, wave that person's hand to open. Behind her, Tao Li suddenly screams, which makes Qi Yi's turn her head quickly. However, she sees Tao Li who has been forced to the wall. She looks at the man rushing over and looks pale with fright. Qi Yi's raises her leg and kicks the man in front of her. She turns around and pours at Tao Li Fi. This woman is a real waste. Qi Knight thought that she had put Tao Li under her body. Behind him, the man raised his knife and cut them down. Suddenly, Qi Yi's face turned white, and she felt that her back was wet and sticky. The blood slowly stretched out her head along her clothes, which made her face pale. Looking at Qi Yi's, he stuttered and touched the clothes behind him. In his voice, he cried, why don't you get away? Hard to turn over and sit on the wall, Qi Yi's took a breath, looked up at the men who had surrounded the 2 people in front, very helpless, regret to save you. With a bitter smile, he stood up against the wall and walked towards the man in front of him. Hello, I ask you. Chi Yi's lowered her head and turned pale. But the natural aura let the man in front of her know that she was seriously injured, but still some retreat, forced himself to straighten his waist. What's the matter? The man shouts, the man around him surrounds Chi Yi's in the middle, and no one is going to give in. Do the people in the city know that all they eat are human flesh? Chi Knight bent down, will just throw away the steel stick picked up, toward the men to see. Naturally. The man was smiling. Are the people in the city willing to eat human flesh? She threw the steel stick, step by step, slowly toward the men in front of her. Naturally. The man continued to answer, looking very leisurely. That's enough. Chi Knight cold hum the corners of the mouth evoke a faint smile, but in the eyes, murderous, and originally confused trance eyes, has a blood red. The tomb left by the ancient summoner is in a cave. The coquettish woman couldn't believe that she felt the sudden breath, as if she saw something terrible. No, it's impossible. How can there be such a strong breath? What power is that? Isn't she Emperor Wu? How can there be such a strong breath? Blindly say don't believe, but the atmosphere around is too strong to oneself can't ignore. Women can only watch each other's strong. But now, she can't stop, even if she already knows what the result will be after her move is released. The woman took a deep breath and managed to calm herself down. What about strong breath? She is only Emperor Wu after all. All over the sky of silver light mercilessly toward the cloud, without meaning soft. Even now, she still meticulously fulfill her promise before, after using half of her real body, she tries her best to attack Yunwu. Finally. Cloud Dance's whole body is wrapped in the power of evil bite, looking at the oncoming silver light murmuring. The Cloud Dance wrapped by the power of evil bite is like a hard stone. Even if her strength is only the realm of Emperor Wu, the power of evil bite still protects her tightly. After the last experience of Blood Corpse Land, her manipulation of the power of Magic Bite has gone to a higher level, and she can control the power of Magic Bite with more energy. At this critical juncture today, it's natural to use the idea. It's all over now. Cloud Dance's eyes are firm, and the power of Magic Bite on her body is a bit more intense. In the corner not far away, Linger, who has never left, looks at everything in front of her in shock. At this time, she doesn't know what to do. Sister Yun used to be so powerful. This is the only idea in Linger's heart now. Now for the first time, she thinks that Yunwu can defeat the woman opposite. The collision came in the expectation of the three people. The silver light and the power of Magic Bite collided together, but surprisingly there was no expected explosion. When the silver arrives, the power of Magic Bite has the dignity of a strong one, as if it can make any force submit to its own feet. The silver light is almost a retreat, and even can't go any further after touching the power of Magic Bite. The woman's calm face drives the force forward again. But at this time, the power of Magic Bite seemed to be angered, suddenly rose, directly swallowed the silver light. The majestic power has no effect in front of the power of Magic Bite, as if two beasts are fighting. If even that power can roar, you must hear the scream of the silver light at this time. The woman's face became very pale, she felt her own strength was so fragile before that very angry power, even she could not do anything to recover. It would be a piece of cake to deal with that force if she opened all her real body, but now she only uses half of her real body power, she can't resist. What to do? Do you want to open all the real bodies? The woman is tangled in her heart, looking at the light in front of her, and there is no action. Her bet with Yunwu is to let her take this move. Although she didn't say it clearly refers to the move in the half-body state. If at this time she opened all the real body in order to win, she would not feel happy even if she won. But if you are so familiar, will the inheritance of the master really be handed over to the person who is Emperor Wu? Can she grow up high enough? Women's heart entangled at the same time, Cloud Dance is also entangled, the power of Magic Bite is one of their most powerful cards. At this time also forced out, if at this time the opposite woman reproduce a complete body, I'm afraid they don't have more power to bear. Both of them are worried about the same thing. The ultimate key to this battle is whether women will choose to fight with all their noumenon. A little bit of time passed, and finally, the power of magic bite completely suppressed the silver light, and the battle finally ended with women's failure. I lost. Looking at the disappearing silver light, the woman murmured that she didn't think she would lose one day. Cloud Dance also breathed a sigh of relief. This just completely took back the power of evil bite. At the same time, Yunwoo's body trembled and groaned. His face turned pale as if he was trying to endure something. After a long time, he finally returned to normal. Sister Yun. Huolinga ran forward and quickly held Yunwoo, which didn't make her fall. Cloud Dance's face is pale and frightening. It's not strange to see Linger around. I think I already know that Huolinga hasn't left. But at that time in the battle, she could not distract to drive him away, had to let her stay. What she can do is to try to block all the attacks and not let the fire spirit be affected. In fact, she did. Although the battle was dangerous, Huolinga was not affected at all. Sister Yun, how are you? Huolinga anxiously looks at Yunwoo. Although her eyes are still bright and clear, Huolinga can feel that Yunwoo's breath is very disordered. Cloud Dance had no choice but to smile for a while. He was not proficient in using the power of magic bite. Every time he used it, he would have some influence on himself. In fact, it's not a big deal this time, just a little breathing, but the opposite woman is still standing there. How can she just fall down? You lost. Cloud Dance let oneself steady rely on work properly sun to stand, looking at the woman opposite coldly say. The woman's complexion is complex, so she hesitates all the time. Until the end of the battle, she can't make up her mind to show her whole body, and finally missed the chance to kill Yunwoo. At the thought of becoming the contract beast of the man in front of her in the future, the woman's heart was mixed for a moment. Perhaps just now really should present the complete noumenon, even if has destroyed Own before the promise, also cannot let Own Master's inheritance fall to this person's hand. Until now, women still think that Yunwoo is not qualified to inherit the inheritance of the tomb owner. In fact, before his master died, he had contacted them. It's just that they are so loyal that they stay here, waiting for the next successor. Although the contract has been lifted, but after seeing the glory of the former master, no matter who is in the eyes of women, they can't compare with the people they once worshipped as idols. So although Cloud Dance shows such strength at this time, it still can't satisfy her. But the bet was made by herself, and she couldn't go back on it. At the moment, under the gaze of Yunwoo and Huolinga, he recovered his human form and walked slowly towards Yunwoo. The step stands in front of Cloud Dance, and the woman's face is calm, as if it is not her who is about to be contracted. Do it. The woman stood quietly in front of the Cloud Dance and said, but deep in her eyes, she was unwilling. Although willing to gamble and admit defeat, he did not agree with Yunwoo from the bottom of his heart. Cloud Dance naturally saw that in her eyes is not willing, only to now also have to contract. She defeated this woman with so much effort. Now her breath is disordered, and the summoner can't summon her. If she doesn't contract with her, I'm afraid that the next fight will suffer greatly. Since this woman is so unwilling to be contracted by herself, it is necessary to wait until the matter in the tomb is solved and her fighting capacity is restored before contacting her. After making up her mind, Yunwoo no longer hesitated. She reached out and began to see the woman in front of the contract. A flash of light, the call to the formation of women slowly shrouded in it. Huolinga opened her eyes and looked at all this. It was the first time that she saw the existence of the summoning array and the seriousness of the Cloud Dance contract. Suddenly, she had a great curiosity about the vocation of summoner. Little by little, Huolinga stood quietly and didn't dare to disturb. Until the light flickered once and finally disappeared in front of him, Huolinga finally came forward to help Yunwoo. When the contract is completed, the woman in front of her has officially become the summoner of Cloud Dance. No matter what Yunwoo thought, at least now with the role of contract, this woman is Yunwu. What do I call you? Cloud Dance looks at in front of this enchanting woman to ask away. Little 9. Said the woman. With the roll of the contract, Small 9 unwilling to reduce a lot, but still remember what happened before. Looking at Yunwu, her eyes softened and her charming smile reappeared. Cloud Dance nodded, I now put you back to space, can you still come out? Small 9 Wunleng slightly thought for a while, then shook his head, can't. There are prohibitions in this grave. As long as you enter the space, you can't be called again. Yunwu's own guess is right. Fortunately, she didn't let her go back to the space directly after the contract. Otherwise, there would be no summoner around her at this time. Between them, Huolinger suddenly found something on one side, and an exclamation interrupted them, what's the matter? Cloud Dance. Two people shun Huolinger's line of sight to see cave all around. Don't know when, unexpectedly appeared a crack. It's just that the cracks are not like the cracks between the stones, but like the cracks between some energies. Oh, no. The previous fighting fluctuated so much that there were cracks in the space here. Space? Huolinger asked suspiciously. It's a cave. How can we say it's space? A touch of anxiety flashed across Xiaojiu's charming face. The cave itself is an independent space made of space elements. Now, after such fierce fighting fluctuations, it will collapse soon, and then we will all be washed into the turbulence of space. We'll leave as soon as we can while there's just a crack, and then we'll completely destroy this space, so that no one else will be killed. No one has ever really seen the turbulence in space, and those who break into it will never come back. So a Small 9 said, Cloud Dance and Fire Spirit Sun. Two people's faces appeared a touch of moving, hurriedly toward the direction of coming. Three figures raised their own speed to the maximum, but the cracks in the cave are also expanding. Change 10 into 100, change 100 into 1,000, the speed of expansion is faster and faster, and even later there has been a piece of space. Where is the exit of this space? How can I get out? Huolinger asked out of breath. In order to prevent intruders from discovering the layout of the tomb, the entrance and exit of the space are not certain, and the entrance is just where you came in before. There are many exits, but I can't find them now. Small 9 anxious response way. How many times have I seen the curse of the intruder who couldn't fly because of the prohibition of the tomb? Xiaojiu is gloating on one side, but now, she wants to swear. Good grave, why should we leave so many prohibitions? Cloud Dance's forward step suddenly stopped. Do you mean that the exit here may not go anywhere, and the place we came in before may not be able to go out? All the steps of Xiaojiu and Huolinger stopped. Xiaojiu bit his lip and said, yes. If anyone passes me normally, I should erase this layer of space directly. But now the space cracks have appeared, and my previous method of erasing the space doesn't work. After all, I'm not a space warcraft. As soon as Xiaojiu's words were finished, Huolinger's face turned pale. What? You're not sure if the previous entrance can get out? Are we going to be stuck here? Small 9 difficult nodded, now only to that place to try. Cloud Dance looked at the cracks growing around, and the look on her face was particularly serious. I'm not sure if I can do it, but now I have to try. Cloud Dance serious say, the pure and cold voice seemed to be able to smooth Fire Spirit Sun and Small 9 in the heart of Fret General. Small 9 Wunleng, she how forget, oneself now of Master also is a summoner that has space element. Xiaojiu, come on, I'll do it. Cloud Dance coldly orders away, tone no doubt. Only Xiaojiu is familiar with this space. With his reminder, it must be easier for him to do it. At the moment, Xiaojiu quickly nodded and went to Yunwu. The most important part of the space is the center, just as important is the center of the roof. Small 9's voice rings out, quickly reported 2 positions. The Cloud Dance palm turns, the rich space element rushes toward those 2 directions, quickly mending the above loopholes. The location of Tianxian's seat, the location of Sanxian. Xiaojiu's voice calmed down slowly. The whole cave is like a night sky. It is divided according to the position of the constellations in the night sky. Every time Xiaojiu reports a place, Yunwu can find that place accurately. Finally, space elements are injected into it to repair the cracks. What Xiaojiu reported is the key position of this space. Space originally has the ability of self-healing. If it does not break several dead holes at the same time, it will not be like this. Therefore, the urgent task is to repair those key positions as soon as possible. The speed of cloud dance is very fast, but it is also slowly felt. The summoner of Shengguan is really powerful, but he has created a space, which is equal to the power of all his space. I can't fix it all. I can only delay as long as I can, linger. Go and find the exit. Try to see if you can get out of the previous entrance cloud dance orders to, at the same time try to delay time. Huolinger calmed down as soon as he heard this, nodded immediately, turned his head and ran towards the direction. Xiaojiu's eyes are staring around the cave without blinking, carefully observing whether there are other key parts destroyed. The space power of cloud dance is continuously input. At last, the cracks in the crumbling space stopped temporarily. However, the power of cloud dance is really limited for this space, so it can only stop spreading. Little by little, it is not a long time, but it seems that it has passed several centuries. Hold on a little longer, and she'll be right back. Small 9 anxiously says. Because of the contract, can clearly feel the breath of cloud dance in a little bit of weakness. Finally, the figure of Huolinger appeared in their sight again. Looking for I found it. Huolinger ran out of breath. We couldn't get out where we came in before. I found another exit. As soon as these words came out, Xiaojiu couldn't help but feel lucky. Fortunately, he didn't keep running to the entrance before, otherwise all 3 of them would be killed. Let's go. The cloud dances a cold hum, the superfluous words don't say anything. Once the strength on the hand closes, stop the space element to infuse, turn round to pull fire Ling Er and small 9 to leave this place. Without the element injection of cloud dance, there are a lot of cracks in this space again, even faster than before. 3 heads did not return to the front running. Where's the exit? Cloud dance coldly asks away. Near the entrance, you can see it there. Huolinger replied quickly. The speed of the 3 was even faster. The space behind seems to be corroded by something, and there are large-scale loopholes. Even through the loopholes, we can vaguely see the existence of space turbulence. Here we are. There it is. When he was about to reach the exit, Huolinger's eyes floated around looking for the exit. Finally, I saw the place I wanted to see. With a finger, I found a silver exit because of the destruction of the space. Go cloud dance a cold drink, a hand holding a person, want to also don't want to drill in. At the moment when the 3 figures left, the space behind was suddenly broken. Shao tribe. A sky thunder roared, and split down towards Shengguan and Shengguan. Nangong Yi looks at him, but he is very anxious. Now Shengguan is seriously injured. If this thunder strikes Shengguan directly, he may die. Nangong Yi is ready to help, but he looks at Shengguan, but at the moment of thunder, he flies away. He turned his head and looked up at Shengguanli, but he was suddenly struck by the thunder. He stepped back a few steps and sneered, "Good boy." In an instant, he flew in front of Shengguan and clapped. However, just at this time, a sky thunder followed another sky thunder and cleaved toward the Shengguan. No! Nangong Yi and Shengguan's hearts sank at the same time. Nangong Yi almost didn't even think about it. He galloped forward and rushed to Shengguan to block Shengguan's hand. A mouthful of blood burst out, but Nangong Yi gritted his teeth, took Shengguan Li's hand and threw it at Shengguan. Nangongji, who has just broken through the Emperor Wu, is still difficult to confront Shengguanli, but he is much stronger than before. Shengguanli is dragged by him and staggers for several steps. He falls on Shengguanli and they fall to the ground together. Nangong Yi steps back and falls to the ground. His mouth gushes blood and he is unconscious. Shengguan sneers. He looks at Tianlei's attack. Shangguan's face turns white. He grits his teeth and stands up. At the same time, he cuts down several Tianlei's attack. Thunder robbery has passed. Shangguan looks at Shangguan Li's pale face. He is very proud and runs to Nangong Yi. But see South Palace Yi lie on the ground, already have no consciousness, in the heart a tight, turn ahead to see to take a fancy to Officer Li, coldly way, I advise you had better not follow now. Shangguan clenches his fists and stands in the same place. Suddenly he covers his mouth and nose with his hands. Shangguan lifts Nangong Yi up and walks out. It's poisonous in the air. Some of the people in the Gate of Beasts yelled. Shangguan coughed 2 times. Looking at the disappearing figure of them, he was silent for a moment. Let's go. Outside Peijing Spring. Ah! Come out! Come out! Countless residents cried out. Shangguan, holding Nangongji with half blood red, staggered out of Peijing Spring. Seeing countless people waiting at the door, he laughed and fell to the ground. What's going on? Xiao Xingjie hurriedly told Xiao Wu and several people to come forward, pick them up and walk towards the tribe. At that time, I saw 2 thunderclouds clearly, that is to say, both of them broke through. Xiao Xingjie murmured, looking at the 2 unconscious men and taking a deep breath. Later, the 2 men broke through Emperor Wu's business in Peijing Spring on the same day, which became a local story, and made Peijing Spring set off a heat of cultivation. In order to avoid what Nangong Yi is worried about, Xiao Wu arranges both of them in his own home and asks them to put them down and leave. Xiao Wu vomited and sat by the bed. He turned his head and looked at the 2 people sleeping quietly. Suddenly, Xiao Wu looks at Nangongji in surprise. He can't help but wonder that Nangongji's eyes are gone. Carefully looking at Nangongji's sleeping face, Xiao Wu can't help quietly reaching out his hand and touching Nangongji's forehead. He wants to see how amazing he is. But before he touched Nangong Yi's forehead, he felt the cool wind around him. In a twinkling, Shangguan's hand had caught his wrist. With a little effort, Xiao Wu suddenly burst into a cold sweat and laughed. That, brother, it's not what you think. I just want to have a look. Have you lived enough? Shangguan sat up with a pale face and a cold look in his eyes. He was frightened by Xiao Wu and quickly stepped back 2 steps. No, it's not what you think. Before, Lord Wuzong, oh no, now I want to call Lord Wudi. I fainted in the poisonous fog. I brought him back, so I think. Shangguan rubs his head and breathes. He turns to Nangong Yi. Suddenly he is stunned and sees Nangong Yi lying beside him. This is the first time for Shangguan to see Nangongji's face. He has been relying on his body shape and breath to find his Shangguan. Suddenly, he is confused. It turns out that Nangongji, who has always been mysterious, looks like this. Xiao Wu looks at the Shangguan on the bed and looks at Nangong Yi without blinking. He is puzzled. Scratching his head, he reached out and patted Shangguan on the shoulder. Well, brother, are you hungry or not? I'll go and cook some rice. I always said that the chicken left for Emperor Wu is still in the circle. I'll kill it. Congratulations on your breakthrough. In this way, the Shangguan heard a scream in his stomach, turned his lips, looked up at Xiao Wu, and said with a grin, "Thank you very much." Xiao Wu seemed to be flattered, nodded happily and went out in a hurry. Shangguan quickly sat cross-legged on the bed to recuperate. Nangong Yi's quiet breathing makes Shangguan feel in a trance. After such a long time, it feels like a dream to finally meet his friend. The corner of the mouth slightly stir up a light smile. It wasn't until the afternoon that Nangong Yi woke up from his sleep. When he opened his eyes, he saw that he was lying on the bed of Xiao Wu's family again. There was no one around him. His injury is still very serious. Nangong Yi can't help but groan when he gets up. He gets out of bed and wants to walk outside. Then he suddenly remembers that he met Shangguan on the day of breakthrough in Peijing Spring. With a sudden pain in his chest, Nangong Yi staggers 2 steps and holds the table. After a few breaths, he hears a joking voice from outside, Nangong Yi, how can you not help beating? You can't do it just 2 times. With that, Shangguan opened the door of the house, holding a bowl of chicken soup in his hand and sitting at the table opposite Nangongji. This is the soup made by Xiao Wu. It's to see you break through and make it up for you. Nangong Yi almost instinctively raises his hand to his forehead, but he doesn't wear anything, and his face turns pale. What are you afraid of? Shangguan helpless, quite normal a person why wear veil all day. Nangong Yi suddenly remembered that he had broken through Emperor Wu, that is to say, his third eye could be hidden. Think so, vomited a breath, to go up the officer to smile slightly, really long time no see. Yes, yes. Shangguan sighed. He put his hands behind his head and looked at the ceiling. I don't know where Yunwu is. Nangong Yi took a sip of chicken soup and bowed his head to meditate. Shangguan looked around and found a room with no family. He couldn't help laughing and said, sure enough, your treatment is still good. It's like me. I've been locked up in prison, and I'm not easy to release. But I want to catch someone. It's because of you that I came to help you. So we have to solve the conflict between the 2 tribes. Nangong Yi said, but he couldn't help frowning. Of course, it's definitely not an easy thing. Eat. Xiao Wu brought in the hot food from outside the house and called them with a smile. Nangong Yi looks at the rich dishes and doubts, are these your own? I remember your home. Yes, I only have these things because I have saved Emperor Wu, so the patriarch has rewarded me with some money and food. You say it's because of me? Nangong Yi can't help but frown, is it because I'm the one they want to take away? Xiao Wu shook his head in confusion and nodded, actually, I don't know, but what I know is that it is said that the people above said they would take you away, as if you were the one they need. Nangong Yi and Shangguan looked at each other and lowered their heads. Sure enough, it's not your own contradiction that provokes the contradiction between your 2 tribes. The people of Wanzhuman deliberately point the contradiction at you. Shangguan clenched his fist and gritted his teeth, the people of the Beast Gate are really boring. Nangong Yi lowered his head, thought for a moment, and finally said, Xiao Wu, please take us to the patriarch. We have something important to discuss. Xiao Wu nodded quickly and led the 2 men out of the house. Nan Mi, who doesn't wear a veil, has a pretty face. People can't help but stop and marvel. Although his white clothes are still stained with blood, they can't hide his peerless face. Patriarch, here they are. Xiao Wu knocks on the door, takes them in, turns around and closes the door. So only Xiao Xingjie, Nangong Yi, and Shangguan were left in the patriarch's room. A maid poured water for Nangong Yi and they stood still. When everything was ready, Xiao Xingjie sat down, looked at Shangguan and said, I don't know what you want to talk to me about. He turned to Nangong Yi, who didn't wear the veil, and was surprised. Then he turned to Plain, before, if Emperor Wu could be so frank with each other, we would have saved a lot of trouble. Nangong Yi lowered his head, picked up the water cup, sipped it lightly, and didn't speak. Say, Patriarch, do you know who I am? Shangguan pointed to his nose with a smile and asked. I don't know. Xiao Xingjie said with a smile. After looking at the 2 people, he sighed, but I know that both of them are young talents. They are very good. Nangong Yi looked at Shangguan and said slowly, this is the mysterious Wuzong master of Xinyu tribe. Before his voice fell, Xiao Xingjie's face suddenly changed. He suddenly jumped up, turned his head and yelled, come on. In an instant, countless people with swords rushed in and surrounded the 2 people. Nangong Yi couldn't help laughing bitterly, Patriarch, you are so cautious. This is my friend. Friends? Why do friends help Xinyu tribe? Do you mean that you are in partnership with Xinyu tribe to destroy our Xiaojie tribe? Xiao Xingjie stood nervously behind a group of people, his face was very ugly. No, we're here to solve this problem. Shangguan crooked a smile and looked around, but if you have to solve the problem with us, I'm afraid we 2 people in Wuzong realm. He looked out of the window and smacked his lips, I'm afraid this tribe will be almost destroyed without the people of Xinyu tribe over there. Xiao Xingjie's face was very ugly. He turned to Nangong Yi with anger in his eyes. Is this the person you brought? Why is it so rude? Nangong Yi, smiling and drinking tea, is very elegant, as he said. Shengguan pursed his mouth and restrained his smile. He didn't expect that Nangong Yi, who was so serious at ordinary times, would play a hooligan with him at this time. So, would you like to sit down and listen to us? The Shengguan sat down, took a sip of tea from the cup, and frowned. This tea is really not delicious. Is that how you treat your distinguished guests? Xiao Xingjie's face was very ugly. He waved his hand to the guards around him and asked the maid to bring him some good tea. Then he sat down and looked at the two people. He breathed out, "Tell me what you want to talk about with me. I want to tell you that all the contradictions between you and Xinyu tribe actually point to one person." Shengguan said that his eyes were shining and he seemed very confident. So? I don't understand. Xiao Xingjie frowned and doubted Shengguan's words. Shengguan smiles, claps Nangong Yi with his backhand, points to him and says, their target is actually him. In order to get him, they do not hesitate to take such a large-scale action. Nangong Yi lowered his head and frowned. Yes, if it hadn't been for the appearance of people from the Beast Gate, he would not have expected this. Another thing. Shengguan suddenly stretched out his hand and spread it in front of Xiao Xingjie. Soon, the black fighting spirit had wrapped his palm. Xiao Shengjiding stood up and looked up at Shengguan in shock. You are also a member of the Beast sect? Ha, it seems that you all know the Beast Gate. Shengguan raised the corner of his mouth and said, in fact, this time I came to protect your patron god, Lord Nangong, by the order of the head of Xinyu tribe. Xiao Xingjie was even more depressed. What's the situation? The head of Xinyu tribe asked him to protect the people who were against them. This is an oolong incident. Shengguan smiles bitterly and turns to Nangong Yi, but Nangong Yi doesn't understand. The people of the Beast Gate gave Xinyu tribe a task, that is, no matter how fierce the battle is, they must preserve Nangongji, because they want to take Nangongji away. However, Nangong Yi suddenly broke through at this time, and the clan leader was afraid that Nangong Yi would hurt himself when he broke through, so that he died and couldn't finish the task of Beast Gate, so he asked me to protect Nangong Yi and help him through the robbery. Said here, Nangong Yi suddenly, no wonder Shengguan will suddenly appear here and save his life. Whoever thought that all the animals had planted an eyeliner on this side and wanted to take him away when he was robbed of serious injuries, and the god Jade tribe just made me come to save Nangong Yi. So to speak. Xiao Xingjie opened his eyes wide. You are not from the Beast Gate? I'm the one who betrays the Beast Gate. Shengguan scratched his head and said with a smile, so you understand why you are going to start a war all of a sudden? Looking around at Nangongji sat down and drank tea without saying a word. Then he continued, the Beast Gate hopes to unify the mainland and everything. They can take this opportunity to seize Nangongji and make you two tribes submit to them. Isn't it happy for all? Xiao Xingjie's mouth opened wide in shock, looking at Shengguan and Nangongji in front of him. After a long time, I finally sighed and murmured, well, I should thank you for coming to save Lord Wuzong. Otherwise, our tribe will be destroyed soon. Shengguan nodded solemnly, patted Nangong Yi on the shoulder and said to Xiao Xingjie, the best way now is to try to persuade the people of Xinyu tribe to let them know the truth and reach a settlement. Nangong Yi frowned, avoided Shengguan's hand and stood up, in this way, we will leave. Then he nodded to Xiao Xingjie, turned and walked towards the door. Wait, Xiao Xingjie suddenly stopped them, if this is true, then I'm so sorry for you. Why don't you come to me and I'll arrange accommodation for you to have a rest? No, Xiao Wu's house is small, but he's used to it. Shengguan didn't look back. He waved to Xiao Xingjie and disappeared at the door with Nangong Yi. Somebody. The smile on Xiao Xingjie's face disappeared instantly. He turned to the people around him and said, go and send some sharp-footed people to watch them for me. If anything happens, report to me immediately. A few humanitarian voices are turned back. Xiao Xingjie narrowed his eyes and murmured, "Should I believe you or the people of the Beast Gate?" Nangong Yi and Shengguan walk slowly towards Xiao Wu's room. They are silent all the way. Shengguan knows that Nangong Yihua is less silent. He turns his head and looks around bored. "Nangong, are you here these days?" Shengguan asked curiously. Suddenly he saw the pastry stall and went to have a look. "Have you seen anyone else recently?" "I've been alone all the time." "Me too." Nangong Yi said, "Continue to move forward." He asked for nothing. Shengguan touched his nose to keep up with Nangong. They go back to Xiao Wu's house. They don't see Xiao Wu, but they see cooked food on the table. Shengguan took a piece of it and tasted it. He nodded with satisfaction and looked out of the window. "What about Xiao Wu?" Nangong Yi didn't reply, but he looked at a messy trace on the ground, frowned and walked in the direction of his steps. "I saw the land, a messy pace, toward the woods behind the house." "Hijacked?" Shengguan frowned and followed Nangong. "Is it the man of the Beast Gate again?" Nangong Yi and Shengguan galloped forward. But the footprints stopped abruptly in the woods. Shengguan and Nangongji stopped and looked around with a serious look. "Xiao Wu!" Shengguan suddenly yelled. The voice was infinitely amplified in the forest, startled the birds in the forest. No one answered. Shengguan suddenly jumped up to a big tree and looked down. Suddenly, not far away, there were 3 or 4 people around Xiao Wu, jumping down from the tree and galloping towards him. Nangong Yi sees Shengguan running to the other side, so he follows him. Sure enough, before he went far, he saw Xiao Wu surrounded by several people. Xiao Wu was lying on the ground, covered with soil, and his mouth was blue. "It's not from the Beast Gate." In the tomb of the ancient summoner, where countless experts gathered, a white figure, like entering a no-man's land, easily bypassed the exploration teams. From the initial access to the tomb, we can shuttle freely through the tomb. Even if we occasionally encounter some small problems, they are all solved easily. I don't know where the little thing is now. Long Qingxia leans in a corner and looks at an ear room in front of him being robbed by an exploration team. All the gold, silver, and jewelry in it are emptied, but he doesn't mean to take a share. Just standing quietly on one side, the line of sight in the crowd constantly shuttle, thinking about what? According to the ability of little things, I'm afraid they should have reached the center by now. It seems that I should hurry up. Even if she doesn't arrive, I can inquire about the environment for her first. With this in mind, Long Qingxia did not hesitate to leave directly. Clinker, he just had news. Those who have just ransacked money, for fear of being robbed of the expedition team, suddenly found his presence. Who? A big man's sharp voice. Long Qingxia steps Emil. This just realized that he thought Cloud Dance thought too much, forget his side cannot peaceful things. Although it was found, the dragon had no explanation at all. Although it stopped, it just stopped for a moment. Then, he continued to turn a blind eye to those people, ready to go deep. Stop. Didn't you hear what I asked you? The speaker seems to be the leader of this team. Seeing that Long Qingxia ignored him, he thought that the other party was afraid, so he left in a hurry, and suddenly he didn't speak out. Boss, I think this kid is sneaky. I don't think he has any good intentions. Maybe someone from another team sent him to inquire about the news. Yes, boss. He must have seen all our achievements just now. If we let him go like this, I'm afraid he will tell others the news, and then we will be in a bad situation. Around a group of flattering people, see their boss don't like to see this man, suddenly one after another voice. Just got the treasure, they are in a good mood, and afraid to let others know that they will come to rob, so naturally they are not willing to let the dragon leave. That eldest brother listened to these words, poor also feel very reasonable, immediately more don't want to let Long Qing evil so left. Stop for me, since you see our business, don't leave. I advise you to stay and don't force us to do it. The boss of the team looked at the back of Long Qingxie, who wanted to leave, and said arrogantly. Long Qingxie naturally heard their conversation clearly, but he didn't bother to argue. Finding Yunwu was the right thing. It's just that this damned tomb is forbidden to fly. Even if the speed is the fastest, it can't go anywhere. Otherwise, just when they were talking, Long Qingxie would not know where he was. What a miserable boy. It seems that I have to give you a good look. As soon as the leader of the team saw that his words didn't work, and he was in front of his brothers, he immediately felt that he couldn't lower his face. He threw his anger on Long Qingxie and roared at the figure who left. Finish saying, then directly toward that figure to rush, fighting spirit surface on the body, palm a shake, a big knife then appeared in the palm, impolitely toward the dragon Qing evil heart cut. This man is a martial saint. He has some strength to be the leader of a small team. This move is obviously with a strong sense of murder. If you change yourself to be someone else, I'm afraid you will really die under this move. Long Qingxie turned his back to the people, and there was a sneer on their faces. Do these people think anyone can see the things they took? It's killing me to try to provoke him for this. Long Qingxie's body didn't move. In the eyes of those behind him, he felt that Long Qingxie had been scared and didn't dare to move, or his strength was too low to avoid the boss's move. So had to stand obediently, hope the boss can forgive him. Even the boss of the team felt that way, but the action on his hand didn't stop at all. In his opinion, just now the dragon's evil behavior has made him lose face in front of the brothers, so he must kill him. The attack is fleeting, and everyone can anticipate what's going to happen. But none of them said anything, and even everyone looked like schadenfreude, hoping that the dragon would die directly. But then something frightening happened. When many people saw that the attack hit Long Qingxie, and the sword went through Long Qingxie's body directly, they found that there was no blood splashing out at all. And their boss is even more frightened to find that his knife doesn't have any sense of hitting others. This is disabled what's left of it. The boss of the team couldn't believe looking at the slowly disappearing figure and said in horror. What kind of strength can have such speed? And shadow can stay in place for so long. What's more, there is a ban on speed in this tomb. Soon, however, he had no chance to think about it. Long Qingxie's attack arrived even before he appeared. The black energy seems to throw away, directly to the team leader, then in contact with the man at the same time, a strange scene suddenly appeared in front of the crowd. A good living person, wrapped by the black energy, did not make a sound, and disappeared in front of the public. As if swallowed by the black hole in general, wrapped by the black energy is just a moment thing, but when the black energy dissipates, they can no longer see the captain's figure. Where's the boss? Where's the boss? Where's the boss? The members of the team looked around in horror, only to find that not only did they not find the figure of the boss, but also the figure of Long Qingxie. It was not until after a long time that the evil figure of dragon appeared in front of several people that they were startled. When did you show up? Where did you get the boss? I can tell you that with so many of us, you'd better be wise, otherwise you can't eat and go here. Although a group of people were scared to tremble, but still bravely said to the dragon. A very evil face with a smile looked at the crowd, cold eyes. Mingming looks like an immortal, but the breath on his body seems to come from hell. Even the words from his thin lips are so chilling. It's a bunch of people who don't think much of themselves. Long Qingxie's voice came faintly, since you are in such a hurry to die, I'll clean it up easily. People's eyes became more and more frightened. In the pupils, the man in white was smiling like a ghost, slowly approaching them. On the other side of the tomb, Yunwu 3 left the independent space safely. After they left, the space behind them had disappeared completely. I'll take care of it, otherwise this space debris residue will affect the people who come and go. Small 9 gave an account, then stood up and walked toward the space there. Although she is not the Warcraft of the space system, after all, this space is the place where she stayed for a long time, and she got some ways to deal with the space from her previous master. So at this moment, only she can deal with this space. Yunwoo knows that Xiaojiu won't do anything she doesn't know, so she nods and lets her make trouble. Sister Yun, eat this quickly. Fire Spirit Sun handed over a Dan medicine to Cloud Dance's hand, a face worry of say, you just suffered so heavy injury, eat this can recover some. After receiving Huolinger's elixir, Yunwoo is a little sad. This pill is not right at all. How can you take it casually? And although she was seriously injured before, because of her contract with Xiaojiu, she has recovered more than half of her injury. Now she can recover directly with a little adjustment. What's more, there is the power of magic bite in her body, constantly repairing her injury. But looking up at Huolinger's expectant eyes, Yunwoo couldn't say no, just said, I took this medicine first. Now my injury is not the time to take medicine. I'll take it later. On hearing this, Huolinger nodded blankly. In fact, she didn't know much about elixir, but everyone had elixir on this operation, and she had taken it once before. She felt very comfortable and knew it was a good thing, so she took it out. But I don't know that this medicine is just an ordinary pill in Yunwoo's eyes. Two people picked a place to sit down at will. Very quickly, the figure of small 9 appeared again in front of two people. Done? Cloud Dance picks eyebrow to ask away, for this just contract partner, she is not very understanding. Well. Little 9 nodded and gave a lukewarm answer. In fact, my attitude towards Cloud Dance is still somewhat contradictory. At this time, the place where the three people sat side by side was just out of the original passage. Originally, Yunwoo and Huolinger were curious about how they could get out of the passage to the cave. It turned out that the entrance point of the independent space was at the entrance of the passage. As long as they got out of the passage, they would directly enter the independent space. Is every passage here guarded like this? Cloud Dance suddenly opened mouth to ask away, in the mind is still remembering would to fix the circumstance outside the channel that they leave. Looking around again, he found that it was the same as that of Mu Xiuming. It's surrounded by huge stones. When you walk inside, you can see some rooms, corresponding to the ear chambers of the tomb. However, there are many ear chambers like this in this place, most of which have been hollowed out. I think these places must be used to place various treasures of the summoner. I think she has been practicing Cloud Dance for many years, and she has collected a lot of good things in her personal space, not to mention the owner of this tomb. I'm afraid his must-win collection is all in this tomb. There are almost everything from valuable to cheap, from rare to everywhere. Yes, every channel here has a ghost of Warcraft left to guard. If you want to pass, you must defeat those ghosts. Little 9 replied. Ghost? Cloud Dance frowned, why is the ghost? Why aren't you? If the master has more summoners, I think he will be happy to use them all to guard the tomb. The reason why he didn't do that is because he has too few summoners. But if you don't use your own Warcraft to guard, you need to find a Warcraft that is loyal and powerful. That kind of Warcraft is very rare, so he looked for a long time, but he didn't find a suitable one, so he decided to use the ghost of some fierce beasts as a guard. Fierce beast? Huolinger shivered and exaggerated, no. How could anyone dare to catch a fierce beast? A touch of pride flashed in Xiaojiu's eyes, what's a fierce beast? At the time of my master, he was one of the best masters. The whole continent knew his reputation. It's easy to deal with a few small Warcraft. 3 times and 2 times, we'll catch enough of these Warcraft. Small 9 talk, as if to talk about their brilliant past in general, for a while even call forget to change. What master? That was your former master. Now you can only call Sister Yun the master. Fire Spirit Sun curled to curl a mouth to say, in the heart have no favor really to small 9. From the initial meeting with Xiaojiu, then to the war between her and Yunwoo, and finally being signed, Huolinger is only slowly hostile to Xiaojiu, until they finally make a contract. Xiaojiu's talking voice suddenly stopped, and his face was embarrassed. Indeed, from the perspective of contract, his current master is Yunwu, and it is also because of the contract that Xiaojiu can feel that his heart is changing little by little and becoming obedient to Yunwu. It's just that her memory reminds her not to forget her former master, not to mention that this place is the grave of her former master. Never mind, you go on. When Huolinger and Xiaojiu both feel embarrassed, Yunwu says faintly, as if they don't care about Xiaojiu's address at all. Small nine eyes complex to see cloud dance one eye, a face turn can if peach blossom, continue to say, no matter from which channel come out, will eventually meet the ghost of a fierce beast. The strength of each soul is different. The weakest can be defeated as long as there is a martial saint in the team. The strongest you need at least 3 Wuzongs or 1 Wudi, so if you want to benefit from the tomb, you have to form a team. Yunwu nodded. Although she said that, she didn't worry about Mu Xiuming. After all, there is a Huolin in it. Lin Yuntong's current strength is the realm of Wuzong, and there is a Mu Xiuming. Although there are only 3 people in it, he is definitely much more powerful than all the teams. Where is the inheritance of your master? Cloud Dance finally asked the most crucial place. In the center of the whole tomb. If you want to get there, you have to go through one ear chamber after another in this intricate tomb. There are all kinds of treasures in those ear chambers, such as pills, miraculous drugs, weapons, gold and silver, etc. If ordinary people see it, they will be crazy about it. Small Nine charming face flashed a touch of irony, but it's a pity, often these are the reasons why the explorers can't hold on to the last, always want to take more, eventually lead to each team fighting, and finally stay in this tomb forever. It is clear that the temptation of ordinary people to that kind of thing is self-evident. Oh! No, Fire Spirit Sun suddenly says. We've been here so long, I'm afraid someone has already entered it. Dad, their goal is the most central inheritance. If we don't go there, we'll be taken away by them. Huolinger suddenly said, Sister Yun, you are the summoner. You can accept the inheritance, so let's go quickly. Cloud Dance nodded, is ready to start, Small Nine but smile. Don't worry. Even if they get to the place, they won't get inheritance. Fire Spirit Sun Aleng, what meaning? The inheritance of this tomb is limited by levels. The lowest is Emperor Wu, and the second is the dual summoner of space and thunder. Finally, I can get my approval and get the inheritance through me. So even if they get to the place, they can only watch. At most, they can take away a jade card by force, combined with the power of several Wuzong. What's the use of jade? Cloud Dance is keen to capture the key points. Jade brand is the key to inheritance. When it's gone, you'll know. Xiaojiu said with a smile, in a word, you don't have to worry about it. None of them can inherit it. What's more, even if you take away the jade metal, it will take a long time to compete with each other. Cloud Dance nodded, Feel Small Nine said really reasonable. Huolinger patted her chest and said, I'm scared to death. I'm really afraid I can't catch up. Small Nine One eyes in the smoke wave flow, looking at Cloud Dance said, this grave ear room big and small have hundreds of, each ear room has a lot of good things, if you get those also be regarded as not poor harvest. Cloud Dance the corner of the mouth a hook, in the heart understand Small Nine is what meaning, if thoughtful of nod. The 3 of them had a rest. When Yunwu's injury was almost recovered, they stood up one after another and went on to the depth of the tomb. The sweeping of ancient tombs has officially begun. In the water prison of Lu Sha tribe, there is still blood, but inside, there is a fierce fight. In the water prison, countless men surround Qi Yi's in the middle. Qi Yi's beautiful face is full of blood, and his eyes are red. She clenched her teeth and raised her hand abruptly. The steel rod wrapped in fighting spirit threw it at the man in front of her. In an instant, her head was broken and blood was flowing. Tao Li didn't react. Seeing this, she fainted on the ground. When she woke up again, the water prison was like hell, which made her face pale and faint again. These people can't stop Qi Yi's rampant. All the way, she looks like hell Shura. When she carried Dolly step by step out of the water prison, after the water prison, except for the dying, there is no one alive. When I came out, it was dark outside. The wound on his back gurgles with blood, which makes Chi Yi's pale and soft. He goes to the residence where the patriarch is. He puts Tao Li down and walks in by himself. Just on the second floor, he saw a light on in the patriarch's room. Chi Knight quietly hid under the window, listening to a few figures in the light of the light in the room in front of him saying, "How do you say we should solve this sword? Let's take this sword to the merchants of other tribes tomorrow to see the price. It may be very valuable. If we could, we might be able to use the money to sell swords to collect more delicious women." Chi Yi squatted under the window, silent sneer, listening to the people inside are discussing things, eyes flashing killing. Suddenly turn over and up, jump on the roof, lift the roof tiles, quietly sneak in. The roof of the house is relatively high, and Chi Yi's body is very light. The people standing around the sword in the house didn't find Chi Yi's. Quietly squatting on the beam, listening to the people below. "I think tomorrow we can eat this woman's delicious limbs." One of the men smacked his lips with a smile, as if he had tasted the meat and enjoyed it on his face. The kind of meat that becomes tight because of struggle is really memorable. "I really want to taste her viscera, which is not dead yet. It's really delicious when I think about it." Several people are talking about how to eat Chi Yi's, but they don't know that Chi Yi's is just above them. When they see their swords around them, they feel the state of several people. They find that 2 people can't feel it. They are a little nervous, so they plan to go back to the next day's round. But did not expect that one of the men suddenly raised his head, just in Chi Knight on the eye. Suddenly, the strange smile on the corner of the man's mouth cools Chi Yi's heart. His heart says that he's broken. "I can't feel this man's state. I'm afraid he's not under me." Just thinking about it, the man suddenly raised his hand and hit Chi Yi's face with a whip in his hand. Chi Yi's was seriously injured. He had no way to dodge. He had to jump off the beam of the house and fall among several people. He took out the sword from the table and held it in his hand. Sure enough, with the sword, Chi Yi's was as flexible as if he had another arm. However, the bigger problem is that a few people around us are similar to their own realm, while the other 2 are much higher. Chi Knight tense whole body nerves, a burst of tension, luck will be wrapped up in fighting. The people around them seem to have expected that Chi Yi's will come tonight. Everyone's face is full of unidentified smiles, which is very terrible in the dark and windy night. I said that meat without high-speed movement is not fragrant at all. Look at this little boy, he really listened to us and came all the way to us. One of the men said with confidence that the men around him also laughed. Looking at Chi Knight was like looking at a little white rabbit, with banter and pity. "Come on, play games with our little white rabbit." Some people said that they raised their hands and patted the color of the Enterprise on their chest. Chi Yi's hurried away to dodge, but he thought that there was someone behind him. He stopped walking. Yu Guang glanced around, only to find that the man near the window had let the window go. Take the smile in that man's eyes, Chi Yi's holds back his anger and rushes out. "Come on, we'll have fun tonight." Behind the window, came a burst of laughter, and then, a few figures flew out of the window, instantly disappeared in the air. "I can't see my fingers." Chi Yi's leaned behind a tree, panting heavily, his face was pale, and the blood on his back was flowing all the time. The blood dripping on the ground made Chi Yi's very nervous. If they went on like this, they would soon find themselves. But now, these people seem to be playing hide and seek here, searching around without delay. "What can we do?" Chi Knight murmured in his heart. Looking around, there was silence. There was no one else except these people. But even if it does, it's not very useful. Chi Yi sighed and quickly found out his situation. Then he picked up his snake sword and ran out. Tao Li is still sleeping at the door. Chi Yi says a word of trouble in her heart and goes to the door. Sure enough, at the gate of the mansion, Tao Li was sleeping soundly on the ground. She didn't know what kind of situation she was facing. After thinking about it for a long time, she hesitated for a long time between saving and not saving. Then he finally got ready to go towards Tao Li. I got you. Around, suddenly came a voice of banter. Chi Knight has not turned his head, feel behind a cold wind, quickly turned towards his back to block. With a loud bang, Chi Yi's felt that her hand was numb. She stepped back 2 steps, but still didn't give up protecting Tao Li behind her. But on the side, suddenly a man rushed out and chopped at Chi Yi's. Chi Yi's feels the strong wind blowing by her side, and she quickly sidesteps to avoid, but she is still scratched with a hole, which is very ferocious. These people, obviously playing with themselves as monkeys, beat back the people around them and walked towards Tao Li. Chi Yi's walked all the way to Tao Li, until he picked up Tao Li, leaped up and left in the distance. Chase, some people around said loudly. Several people ran towards the direction of Chi Knight. Chi Yi's looks at the woman sleeping on her shoulder. She is really itching. She turns her head and looks behind her. Those people haven't come after her. Then she stops and throws Tori on the ground. All of a sudden, Tori sat up from the ground, grinned, touched her ass and stood up. Where is this? Why am I here? What do you want to do with me? I want you to go away. Chi Knight, coldly looking at in front of Tao Li, turned to leave. But you can't just abandon me. Tao Li is very wrong to stand behind Chi Yi's, curling her mouth. I am a person who has no self-protection ability at all. If I encounter any danger, what should I do? It's none of my business. Chi Knight said these 4 words, turned and leaped up, and left in the direction when he came. Hello. Tao Li jumps her feet, looks at Chi Yi's back and shouts, you are a wicked man. Chi Knight color corner of the mouth starts to sneer, toward a man who faces to rush past. All the way to kill. These men never kill her, just play with her, scratch her a few cuts, or scratch her skin, which makes her very angry. Several people finally intercepted her in the woods and couldn't get in or out. You guys are. Chi Yi's gritted her teeth and flew at a man. This little girl is very anxious. The man said that he turned his head and looked at the people around him. The people around him walked towards Chi Yi's and raised his sword to fight against Chi Yi's. This man's realm is equal to his own, but his melee strength is good. He was seriously injured. Before he handed over his hands several times, Chi Yi's was already panting, holding his knee, leaning his sword on the ground, and his whole body was shaking. I said, let's take her back. What if she runs away? It was suggested. Don't worry. Will she run with us? Another man said, looked up at the sky, said to the people around him, we'd better not catch, let's go, it's almost dawn. So it is. People around to cater to, even turned around on the spot, are scattered. Chi Yi's watched the people around her disappear suddenly. No matter whether she should rest or not, she sat cross-legged on the ground and closed her eyes. The dizziness made her unwilling to open her eyes and explore her body. However, she could not help but be overjoyed. She had a faint desire to break through, but she had to work hard. Sitting cross-legged, he finally healed half of the wound in his body and quickly stopped the blood from the wound on his back. While I'm not being watched by these people during this period of time, I have to do something first. Chi Yi thinks so, suddenly sneer, lift snake sword, walk toward the city. In the desert, Meng Bai, hungry and thirsty, once again fell into despair. Flaming lizard, which is a terrible thing in the eyes of all desert people, unexpectedly happened to meet itself. I suddenly sigh in my heart, I don't know whether it is lucky or unfortunate. The huge letter sun, with a bad smell, pounces on Meng Bai, which makes Meng Bai feel sick. He raises his hand and wields his sword to cut it off. Fire, fire, lizard, eat pain, quickly roar back 2 steps, the ground was shaking him. Meng Bai has a feeling of death. In such bad weather, facing such a warcraft alone, he really has no chance of winning. The sandstorm is still rampant, so Meng Bai can only defend against the fire lizard while waiting for the storm to pass. However, nothing could be seen outside. After the whole world was quiet for a moment, suddenly, a huge object sprang up behind him and bit Mengbai's head. The smell of saliva makes Mengbai feel sick. He cuts off one of the fire lizard's teeth with his sword. The fire lizard almost jumps up in pain, but his huge body blocks his action. One person and one lizard struggled in the sandstorm for a long time. Finally, half an hour later, the sandstorm became smaller. In a short time, the sky had already sent out the light of the sun, Mengbai at this time to see clearly in front of this giant. The flaming lizard, 3 people tall, has red scales all over its body, red eyes, and the corners of its mouth bleed like blood. I don't know if it just ate some Warcraft last night. Its huge tail sweeps across the ground and sends out bursts of wind. Mengbai focused his attention and flew to the flaming lizard in front of him. However, the scales of the flaming lizard were too strong. Mengbai staggered 2 steps before he barely stood and looked forward. The flaming lizard is already angry. It seems that there is a flame in its eyes, which makes Mengbai back again. What a terrible guy. Mengbai thought and looked around. Here, there was no cactus. The flaming lizard didn't give him time to think about his situation at all. He suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of magma. The hot lava spouts out of the fire lizard's mouth and attacks Mengbai. The hot wave makes Mengbai pale and quickly withdraw to one side. Where the magma went, even the sand turned black. It's really, really terrible. Mengbai has a lingering fear. He takes a long sword and deals with it carefully. So he wrapped his whole body in the fighting spirit and rushed to the flaming lizard. I saw the flaming lizard sweep its tail and sweep directly to Mengbai's stomach. With a dull hum, Mengbai spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out. He fell to the ground and rolled several times before stopping. But the blood kept spitting, which made him unable to stand up for a moment, so he had to curl up on the ground and frown. The fighting spirit in the body suddenly fills abnormally, which makes Mengbai nervous. Is it going to break through? Yes, he is not excited at all, because in such a situation, if he breaks through and suffers from thunder cloud, he may not be able to live after serious injury. What can we do? Mengbai thinks in his heart and bears the attack of the flaming lizard in front of him. Another sweep, let Mengbai fay up and down, spray thin blood let him pale, for a moment and a half actually can't move, he suddenly will sword fly up, toward the flaming lizard eyes stab. Sure enough, with a sharp roar, the fire lizard fell to the ground and kept struggling. Mengbai closed his eyes and explored his body. It seems that under such circumstances, he can only break through first. Thinking about this, he sat up quickly, took out a few pieces of raw meat of the sand eel and swallowed it. He replenished his physical strength, sat on the ground, closed his eyes, wrapped himself in fighting spirit, and meditated. Sure enough, after a while, the sky was still full of thunder, and the wind and clouds were surging towards Mengbai's cultivation place. Mengbai clenched his teeth, closed his eyes, listened to the huge footsteps of the flaming lizard nearby, and suddenly raised his head and looked at the sky. The flaming lizard stands up suddenly before meeting. Although one eye has been destroyed, he still has another eye. He even wants to kill himself, so come here. So thinking, the sky suddenly dark clouds, thunder rolling, this let Mengbai heart both happy and uneasy. Looking at the flaming lizard in front of him, the good thing is that he has no brain, so he follows what he likes to eat. With this in mind, the flaming lizard in front of him pours at him. Just as it happens, a sky thunder attacks Mengbai. With a roar, the flaming lizard's roar was deafening. Mengbai just hid under the flaming lizard's stomach and raised his hand to stab the flaming lizard's stomach. Another fierce struggle, the flaming lizard rolled up, the sword inserted in its stomach could not be pulled out, Mengbai flew out with the flaming lizard. A sky thunder strikes, and Mengbai is so scared that he hugs Huyen lizard's foot. Suddenly, a smell of paste comes out from Huyen lizard. Huyen lizard is beaten and kicks Mengbai away. Mengbai spat out blood and glided on the sand for a long time. He finally stopped. He happened to see a thunder rushing at him and was about to fight down. He was in a hurry to resist. Turning his head, he saw the flaming lizard running towards him like crazy. He couldn't help laughing. He stood up and ran 2 steps towards the flaming lizard, getting under the flaming lizard. The sky thunder split in an instant makes Mengbai feel a pain before he has time to take his feet in. When he turns his head and looks at it, there is blood on his feet. I couldn't help taking a breath, but I felt a dark shadow suddenly hit on my head. I was in a panic and quickly dodged. The flaming lizard had lost its breath and fell to the side. Mengbai sits under the flaming lizard and quietly watches the thunder fall on the flaming lizard. Bursts of smoke rise from the flaming lizard. After a while, the flaming lizard's last breath is also broken. Finally relieved, looking at the gradually clear sky, Mengbai lay down and closed his eyes. I don't know how long I slept until the hot heat made him feel like he was on fire. Looking ahead, I didn't know how far to go, so I sighed, took out the roasted meat from the flaming lizard, ate it, and walked towards the endless desert ahead. It's been another 3 days and 2 nights. Finally, at the end of the desert, Mengbai saw an inn. There is a flag standing at the door of the inn, which makes Mengbai come down and speed up his steps towards the inn. It was not until I approached the inn that I found that behind the inn in front of me, there was a small village. All the people who came and went stopped in the inn, drank some tea and asked the people around me about the situation. Mengbai was extremely tired. He went into the shop and asked for a pot of tea. He sat down and asked for 2 dishes. While eating, he listened to the people around him talking about the residents nearby. Well, have you heard that mysterious cannibal tribe has appeared again recently? Suddenly a young man stood up and said aloud. For a moment, the hotness of the inn turned around and focused on the young people. Even Mengbai couldn't help looking at the young people. Thought, cannibalism? How to eat it? When the young man saw that everyone's eyes were on him, he suddenly got excited, coughed and said, "It is said that many passers-by have been eaten by them recently. Among the tombs, there are large and small ear chambers one after another. The door of each ear room is tightly closed. The door is covered by a strange energy. If you want to open it, you need different experience and attack. The ear room is big and small. Everything in it is a treasure that can make the whole Wuling crazy. But if you want to get him, you have to have enough ability. The forces on these ear room doors are strange." Huolinger walks beside Yunwu and looks at the big and small doors curiously and says, "Little girl, you don't know. These are the seals that have been set up specially. They are not forces." Small 9 teases to say. There was a flash of pride in his eyes, and then he inadvertently looked at Yunwu, but he did not blurt out the word, "Master." The seal? Huolinger was more curious. He went directly to the front of an open door and explored the energy curiously. "Yes." Xiaojiu leaned on a wall and said lazily, "Every ear room here will set a seal according to the things placed inside. These seals can only be opened when there is a new heir to the whole tomb, and only for the heir. Like today, they are invaded by a group of intruders. If they want to get things in the ear room, they have to rely on brute force to break these seals. The power of the seal is big and small. The more precious the things inside, the greater the power of the seal. Some can break it by force depending on the strength of the team, and some 2 or 3 worthless martial saints can break it. But those that are really difficult to open may not be able to open even if they are more than a dozen martial sections." "No." Huolinger was surprised and said, "No more than 10 martial arts schools. What about Sister Yun?" Cloud Dance's line of sight looked over, small 9 charming smile, said, "If according to the power of words, although Emperor Wu is stronger than those invaders, but for the tomb owner is still too low, even if 2 more, I'm afraid also can't open." "Ah." Huolinger said, "It's too difficult for you here. Fortunately, Sister Yun is going to inherit it, otherwise you can only see the things in it." Small 9 smile of a face cunning, say, "The rule is dead, but the person is alive. Although there are many rules in this tomb, don't forget that I have many ways to avoid the rules. It's just as if I can manifest myself under prohibition. Huolinger's eyes brightened. What can you do? I have the residual energy left by the tomb owner, and I know the way to remove the seal. As long as I lead the way, you can enter any ear room you want. True or false? Huolinger's eyes were straight. So we can get these things without any effort. Don't go to other places to have a look. If you slow down, you will be robbed by others. Then he ran directly to the inside. All they saw along the way were opened ear chambers. There were 5 or 6 large and small ear chambers. The small one was only 2 or 3 square meters in size, and there were only 2 tables inside, while the large one was nearly 10 square meters. According to Xiaojiu, these ear chambers are only external, and the things inside are worthless, so it's easy to open them. There's no need to worry about them at all. In the past, they were all discarded by the tomb owner. The ear chambers here are divided into 4 levels: heaven, earth, Xian, and Huang. Each level is divided into upper, middle, and lower. The most central one is Tianzi Air Shi, while others are scattered irregularly in various places. There are also some air Shi that use space elements to float in the whole tomb, which need to be searched. And some of the most peripheral ear chambers don't even have numbers. They are filled with ordinary weapons and herbs, and you can take them if you take them. Small 9 hit a yawn, follow behind Fire Spirit Sun, toward the cloud dance nearby to say, the speech is quite a bit rich and powerful flavor. But isn't it valuable inside? Don't forget that my father and several other city masters are all in the realm of Wuzong. According to you, they can open even the ear room with the character of, the earth is superior. Huolinger said anxiously. Hey, there's something interesting about you, little girl. Small 9 squints a pair of eyes to smile to see Fire Spirit Sun to say, a jade white hand stretched out a slender finger to point the head of Fire Spirit Sun. Why not to your father, but to outsiders? What if your father had to go to those babies? Huolinger pouts his mouth and hides, Dad and they are just trading. Even if they open the ear room together, they just divide the things in it equally. There are 9 city masters, and Dad can only get 1/9. But if Sister Yun gets those things, if she doesn't like them, she will give them to us. At that time, Dad will get more than 1/9. When Yunwu heard this, she suddenly burst out laughing. This little girl should believe her so much, she is not afraid to sell her. And they only met a few times, so she sold her father and directly stood on her side, just because she thought she would do them good? Do you believe your sister Yun so much? Small 9 is also very surprised, a pair of coquettish eyes open greatly looking at Fire Spirit Sun. How do you know your cloud elder sister will certainly give you things? Huolinger snorted. I know that although Sister Yun looks cold, she is very generous to her own people. My father and I are sincere friends. Unlike those city masters, they are all dignified and pure trading relationships. Small 9 light smile, no longer speak, but in the heart is greatly surprised. Yunwu is so cold that she can make a little girl trust her so much. I think it must have some advantages. Maybe I should get to know her again. I thought so, but little 9 didn't say anything. But continue to spread science around this ear room, but even so, you don't have to worry, because the plunder of those people is just in vain. I suggest that you clean up the ear room below the yellow character now, so as not to regret it later. Fire Spirit Sun Aleng, why say so? Small 9 eyes a smile. All the things in this tomb are left by the owner of the tomb to the next inheritor. Those who come to plunder, even if they rob more also can't take out, when they leave, must pass through the transmission array to leave here. In the transmission process, all the things in the tomb will automatically leave and return to the standard, so, later words don't need small 9 more to say. Cloud Dance and Fire Spirit Sun 2 people already understood. Do you mean that this tomb is a tomb on the surface, attracting groups of explorers to come here, but it's just a bait laid down to find a successor? Cloud Dance asked in surprise. That's right. Xiaojiu said with a smile, even if the intruder's strength can surpass that of the tomb owner, he will not find it until he leaves the tomb. At that time, even if he wants to enter the tomb again, it will be difficult. Because the whole tomb is a floating space, with no fixed place to live, in addition to specific factors are triggered, and then attract a new group of tomb robbers. Small Nine's eyes look to the ear room which has been plundered in front, with a touch of irony. There are many organs in this tomb, only the brave and resourceful people are qualified to inherit the master's inheritance. I just didn't expect to have an accident. The implication is that he is dissatisfied with Yunwu. In Xiaojiu's opinion, he still thinks that Yunwu is not qualified to inherit his master's mantle. But out of compliance with the gambling agreement, she can only fulfill her promise. Yunwu didn't speak. She knew that even if she said it, she would not listen. You don't need to prove your strength to others, and after you leave here, you don't know whether the contractual relationship between them will survive, so there is no need to explain. Come on, if you are interested in the ear chambers below the D characters, grab them now, because after you accept the inheritance, the whole tomb will be yours. But those below the ground characters are not marked as tombs, but they will be taken out of the tombs at that time. Small Nine diverged the topic, as if the words before were not what she said, as always charming. Although she became the summoner of Cloud Dance, she never forgot her previous master. Conscientiously fulfill their obligations as a summoner, help Yunwu understand the tomb, and willing to let her become a successor. And feel sorry for the original owner from the private heart, but now, can only bury that apology in the bottom of my heart. This contributed to the present attitude towards Yunwu, neither humble nor overbearing, neither angry nor sad. I work for you, but I don't recognize you from the bottom of my heart. With Small Nine words, Fire Spirit Sun finally no longer anxious, all the way toward the inside, from time to time to those who have opened the ear room turned 2 eyes. But there was nothing left in every ear room. Occasionally, after 1 or 2 numbered ear rooms, Huolinger could not help looking sad. You said how happy they were when they opened the ear room. When they left, they found that everything was nothing but joy. How lost they were. Fire Spirit Sun can't help saying. One side of the Small Nine to her cast a white eye, as if to say, have the ability you let your Cloud elder sister give them things. Although Xiaojiu asked them to rob the ear room below the character D, it was ironic, but Yunwu was not affected at all. The 3 of them really found an ear room without a mark below the character D. This ear room hasn't been opened yet. Let's go in and have a look. Cloud Dance said, then ready to start. Well, all along the way, it's all opened. I've been itching for a long time. Huolinger said with bright eyes. One side of the Small Nine already shocked, Xiahao also did not expect Cloud Dance actually will go to sweep the ear room below the word, but she said clearly. All the things in it are herbal medicine and weapons discarded by the master. They are used to kill the invaders. Is this inheritor so mean? At the thought of this, Xiaojiu's face is not very good looking. Even if the master's successor is not strong, he must have the spirit of an expert. Now he is struggling with such a small thing like a upstart. It's just but Yunwu doesn't know what Xiaojiu thinks in her heart. In her opinion, the state of the tomb owner is something she will achieve sooner or later. But that realm is still a little far away from me now, and these worthless things for Xiaojiu may be the things that I can use in my present realm. What's more, she is not alone. Even if she doesn't use it, she can give it to her partner in the future. Before standing in the ear room, Yunwu didn't notice Xiaojiu's look behind him. He had already been ready to work. Small Nine changed face behind him, hesitated again and again, still did not make a sound to stop. With the strength of Cloud Dance is very easy to break the door. So she doesn't have to do it at all. Even she wants to be away. Master, I'm sorry for you. I just lost your inheritance to such a person, Xiaojiu thought silently in his heart. A loud bang, a wave of broken energy and the smoke symbolize that the door of the ear room has been completely destroyed by the Cloud Dance. Sister Yun is so powerful. It's open all at once. The team I saw just now has concentrated the strength of several people. That's because those people are too weak, not your sister Yun is strong or not. Small 9 silently make complaints about the heart. Let's go in. The voice of Cloud Dance was calm, but after saying this, he took the lead to step in. Don't worry, it's just some small things. Little 9 continues to make complaints about it in his heart. Wait for my sister Yun. Huolinger excitedly followed Yunwu and said, turning his head and looking at Xiaojiu who had been silent since just now, Go, what are you doing outside? Small 9 Wenleng quickly shook his head, No, I won't go in, stand outside to show you, prevent someone from coming. Go and choose what you want. Yes. It's a choice. They should just pick the right things and leave. Huoling Air nodded, It's hard for you. Then he turned his head and went in. Small 9 This just relaxed a breath, a person quietly stands outside to wait. She really can't imagine that her master's heirs would regard the things that her master lost as treasures and look surprised standing outside and waiting for a long time. I finally saw the 2 figures come out from inside. The first thing for Small 9 is to look at their hands. When they appear empty-handed, they can't help but feel relieved. Fortunately, they didn't come out with a pile of things. It seems that they despise the things inside. It seems that the successor is not so ignorant of the world. The next moment, however, Xiaojiu's idea was overturned. As soon as Huolinger came out, he pulled Xiaojiu's arm excitedly and said, Xiaojiu, I tell you, there are a lot of Huoling grass in it. Do you know Huoling grass? The same as my name. It's said that it's a kind of spirit grass that can make good pills. Sister Yun is also very surprised that there are so many fire spirit grass. Hundreds of trees. How could she not know? The embarrassment flashed over a coquettish face. Even if you don't know it's Huoling Ko, you can guess what level it is. Cough. I know, Huoling Ko. It's not very rare. The owner of this tomb will cultivate his own spirit grass, so there are a lot of such things. It's a rare thing. Cloud Dance's cold voice came over, Put it outside, I'm afraid it will also lead to looting, not to mention it's still such a large number, so I took it all. Xiaojiu's smile was stiff on his face. Take all of them. At the first moment, she was still glad that the air was not so insightful. At the next moment, she told herself that she had taken away the things used to send the invaders under the word D, and she was still a treasure. How could she bear it? However, next, Cloud Dance, actually another faction indifferent, said, How, you heartache? It's no use heartache. I've already taken it. Let's go to the next ear room. In this case, there should be a lot of good things. Cloud Dance said, directly turned to the next direction, behind Huoling's son excitedly to keep up, Still don't forget to pull Small 9. Come on. Small 9 want to cry without tears, but he is now the contract beast of Cloud Dance, so had to obediently follow behind, before also has been laughing, now suddenly silent. I tell you, Sister Yun said. Fortunately, we went to see these ear chambers. Otherwise, so many good things would be taken away by others. Huolinger comes up to Xiaojiu and says with a smile, as if he got a big bargain. Little 9 was silent. Sister Yun is generous. I said that I was studying herbal medicine and wanted a fire spirit herb, but she gave it to me without thinking about it. How much did you guess? Huoling Air doesn't mind Xiaojiu's attitude. She says to herself, most of them. Sister Yun asked me to take more than half of the herbal medicine in the whole ear room. She said that she only needed enough for her. I think Sister Yun must have something to do with Huoling Ko. Xiaojiu was stunned for a moment. A moment ago, she still felt that Yunwu was greedy, but now she found that her previous idea seemed to be wrong. A greedy person who has never seen the world will be so generous to give his things to others. Do you have too much prejudice against her? She's not that bad, is she? Small 9 looking at the front, Cloud Dance of the back, as if thinking way. In the forest of the Shao tribe, Shangguan and Nanganji quietly stand on the nearest tree to Xiao Wu and others, listening to the movement below. Hello, one of the men reached out and patted Xiao Wu with a smile on his face. I heard that you've got a lot of rewards recently. How can I say you shouldn't reward your brothers? That's right. It makes you pay so much money. Do you think it's more difficult to give you to those who are difficult than to kill you? I said that this is a barren iron rooster. Let's kill him. Said a few men to push Mulberry up, Xiao Wu lying on the ground, such a strong man, but did not fight back, let a few people taunt. Don't worry, you saved the Wuzong adults, see you didn't go back, we'll leave directly. A man picked up Xiao Wu's collar, will he lift up, you channel stagnant waste. Xiao Wu lowered his head and let them beat and scold. Shangguan and Nangang Yi look at each other and frown, intending to continue to listen. I said, Xiao Wu, there's no fighting spirit in this world. You're not as good as a beast. So it's useless for you to ask for so much money. I think you'd better hand over the money. Otherwise, you can't get home with your brothers. He said with a sneer, do you think that Wuzong can help you if you save him? Don't tease me. They are all high-ranking people. Do you think they will waste their energy for such a small person as you? Xiao Wu still didn't speak and didn't resist at all, which made Shangguan really can't stand it. He jumped down the tree. But Nangang Yi didn't move. He just stood in the tree and looked down. Oh, let me see who's calling me. Shangguan sneered and suddenly fell in front of several people. They were so scared that they stepped back 2 steps. They looked up and saw that they were not familiar with each other. This just pick eyebrow, boldly step forward. Who are you? There is nothing for you here, I see you still don't mix in blindly. With his head down, the superior could not help laughing. It felt like I heard something funny. I raised my head and couldn't help laughing. Several people were puzzled. Mixed up. Shangguan dashed in front of several people, raised his hand to grasp a man's neck, and pressed the man on the tree. Smile eyes curved, I tell you, he is my life-saving benefactor, how can you treat my life-saving benefactor like this? If you make me angry, it's not something that can be solved by apologizing. Suddenly from the body to reveal a strong aura, coupled with Shangguan's face light, let those people tremble and swallow saliva. But the tone was still tough, how come I haven't met you? It must be Xiao Wu who asked to scare us. Do you think I'll be fooled by you? Shangguan smiles and turns his head to the tree. Those people can't help looking at the tree. Beside the tree, Nanganji, who is white and elegant, looks like an immortal. Like a god, he has a kind of condescending feeling. The setting sun hits him, and his holy but pure appearance makes several people feel stunned. When several people reacted, they coughed awkwardly twice, and their legs softened. They turned to see the Shangguan. This guy's momentum is not inferior to the one standing on the tree. I'm afraid the 2 people's realm is quite the same. At this moment, a few people knelt down on the ground with a plop, and they were so scared that they cried and cried, Great Xia, please forgive me, Master Wuzong. I don't know that the 2 Great Xia are coming. If you miss them, please forgive me. Shangguan pursed his mouth with a smile in his eyes, but his face was full of serious expression. He helped Xiao Wu up, coughed twice with his hands on his back, and put on airs. I tell you, Xiao Wu is the life-saving benefactor of both of us, so if you dare to have trouble with him in the future, you must remember to walk together when you go out at night. Do you understand me? Several men nodded in a hurry. In that way, they almost spat out their tongue and wagged their tail. Shangguan snorted coldly, shook his arm, turned and walked towards Xiao Wu. If it's nothing, you can go away. Just finished, the men ran to the direction of the woods, disappeared in an instant. Looking at those people running away, Shangguan couldn't control them for a moment. He covered his stomach and laughed, oh my god, it's so funny to scare people like this. Nangang Yi has come forward and holds Xiao Wu's wrist. Xiao Wu is nervous and instinctively wants to avoid it, but in an instant, he swims around his body with a breath. After a while, Nangong Yi took back his hand and frowned. Brother Xiao Wu, when did you start to exhaust your fighting spirit? Xiao Wu bowed his head and sighed in frustration. Then he said, 4 years ago that summer, when I went out to collect herbs, I was injured. When I was sober, I found that my fighting spirit was exhausted. No matter how I practiced in the future, I could not make my fighting spirit full. From then on, I became a useless man. Nangong Yi nodded slowly, turned around and walked forward thoughtfully. Shangguan laughed enough and ran after him. He looked at the two thoughtful people, scratched his head and caught up with Nangong Yi. Why, do you see why the fighting spirit in his body has dried up? Sealed. Nangong Yi has a faint smile at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes are full of affirmation. This kind of seal is difficult to understand, but if you meet us, there will be no problem. Behind him, Xiao Wu vaguely heard Nangong Yi say that there was no problem. He got excited and ran to Nangong Yi. His eyes were shining with tears. He was about to cry. Master Wuzong, do you mean my fighting spirit can be restored? Nangong Yi lowers his head, smiles, nods, and makes no comment. Xiao Wu's eyes filled with tears. He came forward to hold Nangong Yi's hand. He was so excited that he couldn't express it. Suddenly, he reacted again. He quickly pulled back his hand and began to laugh. Nangong Yi didn't say anything, just went back to the house with Xiao Wu. As soon as he got back to the house, Nangong Yi asked Xiao Wu to sit cross-legged, and he stood beside Xiao Wu, holding Xiao Wu's wrist and merging his fighting spirit into Xiao Wu's body. Walk into the meridians, open the long blocked meridians by the way, and then untie the seal step by step. Xiao Wu only felt that the fighting spirit was very comfortable in his body. He enjoyed it selflessly for a moment, but he didn't react to it. All he felt was a strong breath coming from his body. Suddenly opened his long exhausted meridians, the majestic fighting spirit is like a flood, an instant into the whole body. Xiao Wu couldn't help but snort. His whole meridians hurt as if they were cracked. He clenched his teeth and heard a cold voice around him saying, "Guide the aggressive wandering." So I hastened to guide the fighting spirit, and swam hard in my own meridians. Xiao Wu had not practiced for a long time, so he couldn't control it at all. His fighting spirit rushed into the main meridians and let Xiao Wu's blood gush out. Nangong Yi hurried forward to join hands and sent a stream of fighting spirit to guide the fighting spirit in Xiao Wu's body. In a moment, it was calm again. It was not until Xiao Wu opened his eyes that Nangong Yi stopped and breathed. Xiao Wu's face was a little pale. He was hurt by the collision just now, but he got out of bed and knelt down to Nangongji. He kowtowed several times, "Lord Wuzong, I don't want to repay you for your kindness. If I have a chance, I'd like to be a cow in return." Nangong Yi quickly lifted him up, shook his head and said, "This little hurry is not worth brother Xiao Wu's help." Xiao Wu was so excited that he was about to cry. He laughed and said, "Anyway, I must buy a jar of good wine tonight. The three of us will be drunk tonight." Shangguan stood by and laughed when he heard this. At night, the stars were burning and the lights were shining. Xiao Wu cooked a good table and asked people to move 2 jars of good wine. He moved his dining table to the yard and sat down with 3 people facing the moon. To tell you the truth, Lord Wuzong, it's because of this that I plan to marry my daughter-in-law and run away with others. Because I didn't have fighting spirit, I was bullied by everyone in the village. After so many years, I've been living a life as if I were dead. If it wasn't for you, I would be bullied all my life. So, maybe I would become something. Say, stand up, toward the South Palace end up wine cup, anyway, I toast you a cup, thank you for your help. Nangong Yi stood up and raised his mouth slightly, "Don't be so polite. We have a long way to go." Shangguan stood up with his glass and said, "You're welcome. Do you want to drink or not?" Said, "A mouthful of wine, cannot help but praise, well, good wine." He picked up the wine jar and poured another bowl. 3 people are drinking wine bowl by bowl. Xiao Wu laughs happily and talks with Shangguan in the dark. Nangong Yi sits aside, drinking wine on his own, looking at the stars and silent. It was not until Shangguan and Xiao Wu were drunk that Nangong Yi looked back at the messy table and the 2 people in front of him. With a sigh, he stood up and walked towards the room, but suddenly in a trance, he held the table and knocked down the bowl on the table. He bowed his head and laughed. He was drunk. He sighed and sat back at the table. He leaned against the stone pillar and closed his eyes. The breeze blew, and the whole tribe fell silent. The next morning, when Xiao Wu opened his eyes again, he found that he was the only one left in the small yard. He quickly stood up and ran into the room, shouting, "Lord Wuzong." However, no one answered. With a sinking heart, he rushed into the bedroom, only to find a letter left on the bed with a bottle pressed on it. When he opened it, he saw that it read, "The effect of refining qi with pills in the bottle was excellent. There's no reward for saving your life. Goodbye and take care." Some disappointed heart, looking at the paper, spit out a breath, dispirited sitting on the bed. Suddenly, a group of people rushed in outside the door. Xiao Wu saw that it was Xiao Xingjie and others. He quickly stood up and walked towards Xiao Xingjie. He was very depressed and couldn't lift his spirits. "What about Lord Wuzong?" Xiao Xingjie asked in a hurry as soon as he came in. "I don't know. When I got up this morning, I saw them leave this letter and disappear." Xiao Wu sighed, "I don't know when I can repay this kind of kindness." Xiao Xingjie was very angry and said, "How can we let them go?" Patting himself on the head, he was very remorseful. "They should be entertained, so that our tribe avoided a struggle, thanks to 2 people. At this time, the 2 people riding in the forest, walking in the shade, very comfortable. Shangguan smiles cunningly, "I just think that we have helped them so much. We only need 2 horses. It's okay." Nangong Yi smiles and doesn't speak. In the desert inn. Meng Bai is very curious to drink tea and listen to the young people around him talking about the cannibal tribe. It is said that as long as this cannibal tribe appears in one place every year, it will let passers-by come into the tribe on the ground of hospitality, and then take advantage of it to catch them and cut meat. As soon as the words were finished, all the people in the inn could not help shivering. Of course, Meng Bai also coughed twice. Meng Bai put in a sentence, "So, no one took the lead to exterminate these people? Ah, this young Xia has got the point." The young man suddenly came forward with a smile, patted Meng Bai on the shoulder, and said to the people around him, "So, in our inn, we are going to hold a recruitment now, and we are going to kill the cannibal tribe together, with a reward of 100,000 liang." After that, he looked at the people's eyes in the inn and said with a smile, "You'll share it equally." Cut. There was a hiss in the inn. Everyone began to have tea and chat again. No one paid any attention to the boy. Seeing that everyone ignored him, the young man asked for nothing. He turned his head to look at Meng Bai, stepped forward and sat beside him, laughing, "Young Xia, don't you have any idea to kill cannibals?" "Why not?" Meng Bai took a sip of tea and looked at the teenagers around him. "Are you so good?" The young man's face is unbelievable. Meng Bai didn't speak, but just smile, "Young man, where do you know so much information?" On hearing this, the young man clapped his chest with pride, and his eyes were full of satisfaction. "You ask me, I'm the best informed here." Then he looked around, leaned over to Meng Bai's ear and whispered, "All the information here is sent by me. Do you want any information?" Meng Bai blinked, smiled and didn't speak. "I know that recently, that cannibal tribe has captured a cruel character, who is said to be a woman in the realm of Emperor Wu." Meng Bai nodded, squinted and laughed, as if not interested. "If you slaughtered the city, you can cooperate with her. I'm afraid she would have cut it down and wiped it out in the realm of Emperor Wu." The boy picked up the jug and gave himself the wine. He drank it and looked at Meng Bai with wide eyes. "How about it? How is this information to be traded?" Meng Bai turned his lips and stood up helplessly. He said with a smile, "The transaction has to be valuable. This information is of no value to me." Seeing that Meng Bai was about to leave, the young man was immediately flustered. He grabbed him and laughed, "Don't, young Xia, if there's nothing wrong, just look around." But Meng Bai shrugged and left. The footsteps behind him came after Meng Bai. "Young Xia. Wait till you go." The young man panted to catch up, looked up at Meng Bai and laughed, "I don't ask for anything in return, I'll go with you." At this time, Meng Bai suddenly noticed that the young man was white and beautiful, and his age was about 17 or 18, but he was very clever. What made Meng Bai even more incredible was, "You are a woman." Hearing this, the young man turned red and quickly lowered his head and stammered, Who told you I'm a woman? I'm a man, okay?" Meng Bai had no choice but to smile, sighed, and walked forward. "Then you can lead the way." "Say so." Here in front of a piece of yellow sand all over the sky, immediately can't see clearly the road ahead. At the sight of such a scene, Meng Bai was still frightened. "I suddenly thought of the flaming lizard and the unknown danger that I defeated by thunder robbery." "What's your name?" the young man said, looking up at Meng Bai. "This man looks unfathomable. He doesn't know what the origin is." "My name is Jia Zhong." Meng Bai. Meng Bai simply introduced himself and followed Jia Zhong to the deep desert. In Lusha tribe, Qi Yi's has already killed Red Eyes at this time. Qi Yi's body is covered with blood. He kills people whenever he sees them. The whole Lusha tribe is covered with blood, which makes people scared. Qi Knight step by step a bloody footprint, the hands of the snake sword are trembling, listening to the people on the street screaming cry devil, the heart cannot help but sneer, devil. I'm afraid you are the real devil. All the way unimpeded chopping, suddenly, in front of a few men, Qi Knight look, it is last night with those who chase her. One of the men was very happy with a smile, at last we met, didn't we? How are you doing? Qi Yi's face is calm. She holds the snake sword tightly in her hand. The blood in her hand makes the handle of the sword wet and sticky. It's very hard for her. Her clothes have been coagulated into a layer of armor by the blood, and her face is a little bit bloodstained, just like a hell Shura. My God, it's so beautiful. A man clapped and walked towards Qi Yi's. Qi Yi's was so nervous that he stepped back. I've come to see your injury. The man walked slowly towards Qi Yi's. You know, if you lose too much blood, it's not delicious. Then he turned his head and looked at the people who had been killed in the whole tribe, and laughed, just like you, if you kill them, we can't eat them. Said, but also a sigh of regret. Qi Yi's stomach surged, and he almost vomited out. He threw the snake sword in his hand and rushed towards several people. These people, I'm afraid, are already metamorphosed among the metamorphoses. They, together with the tribesmen, have already ignored their life and death. In front of an ear chamber in the tomb. Just now it was still in front of the bustling door, but now it became very cold. Those teams that were still immersed in the joy of harvest a moment ago, now all their members are lying on the ground and shouting ouch, ouch. Long Qingxia coldly looked at them, and the black energy in his hand was put away. Well, I'll die. The cold voice sounded, and the beautiful face seemed to be frozen at the moment. Looking at the people on the ground who had been saved by him, his eyes were full of disgust. If it wasn't for his good mood because he was about to see Yunwu, I'm afraid none of these people would stay. Long Qingxia looked up to the depth of the passage, and his eyes became soft again. It's a little bit delayed, but we'll see it soon. Long Qingxia murmured in a voice that only he could hear. Then the head also does not turn toward the center to continue to move forward. In a corner behind him, a small group of people hid behind him until Long Qingxia left for a long time. That man is so strong, and it seems to be looking for someone to listen to what he said before. The speaker is a graceful young man. If they are dancing in the clouds, they will recognize him here, because he is the young man Mulan of Yulin town. I heard that Yunwu is also looking for someone. Do you think they will? said another. After such a little time, they have already inquired into everything after Yunwu appeared in Huisher town, so they naturally know about Yunwu's finding friends. Cloud dance. Mulan frowned. He didn't feel it at first, but suddenly it was possible. If other people don't connect them at will, they will not. However, in several towns around Huisher town, there are not many experts here on weekdays. This time, there are 2 in a row. It seems that their skills are at least in the realm of Wuzong. And this man is even more powerful. Moreover, both of them came to Huisher town to find people. In this way, it is difficult to connect them. Very likely. A man in white beside Mulan said that it was the Wuzong who fought with Yunwu before. What are you going to do? The man in white continued. Although he was only invited to join the team of Mulan, he always thought highly of himself. After he was defeated by Yunwu, he had a knot in his heart. Therefore, I directly hated the people in the cloud dance team. When I saw the people related to the cloud dance, I couldn't help asking another question. Mulan was silent for a moment and thought about it carefully. At last, he said, "Why don't we go up and have a look?" Since he didn't find our trace just now, his strength is not very strong. Bring him to our team. I'll see what Yunwu will do if she finds out that her good friend has joined the enemy's team. The man in white was stunned and frowned. Even if we let him join, how can we compare the importance of Yunwu with them when they meet? Mu Lin snorted coldly, "You look down on me too much. My confused heart pill in Yulin town is not so famous." Confused heart pill. As soon as these 3 words came out, several people could not help but open their eyes. In order to deal with Yunwu that woman, the young master even planned to take out the heart pill. It may be able to control people's mind in a short time. It's the treasure of Yulin town. Only the city master of Yulin town has it. For a moment, everyone could not help but take a breath. This young master is really a black sheep. In order to deal with a woman, he could do this. The man in white was also stunned, but then he also laughed. Since the young master is so willing, I won't say much. Mulan looked at the people's looks, vanity soared, proud of the a wave of the palm, said, "Keep up." A small group of people ran after Long Qingxie in the direction of leaving. When they left, they did not forget to search the people lying on the ground and took out all the things they had searched in the ear room before. It's just that they don't know. Long Qingxie has known that their team is not far away. They just feel that their strength is too poor to fight with them. If Long Qingxie knew that they had a grudge with Yunwu, he was afraid that the people in this group would have died long ago whether you were the son of the city leader or not. I don't know how many times on the other hand, under the leadership of Yunwu, they found another ear room below the prefecture level that had not been opened. This time, they found another herbal medicine in it. Yunwu also generously gave half of it to Hulinger, and they went on contentedly. And what's different from before is that this time, Xiao Jiu and them enter the ear room together, as if they no longer care. Although Yunwu didn't say it, she also saw her changes in her eyes. It's just that the contract will be terminated after the end of the tomb, so Yunwu didn't say anything about her, just as she was a partner. It seems that there are many teams coming in. After searching for so long, only 2 ear chambers have not been opened, and all the others have been looted. Cloud Dance turned, the ring on the hand casually sighs away. Xiaojiu coughed softly and said, "In fact, you don't have to mind. The more you go inside, the more good things you have. At that time, those things don't belong to you. Anyway, those taken away are worthless things." Cloud Dance shook his head, "If other even, just herbal medicine is very important." Small 9 also want to say what? Cloud Dance suddenly turned his head, a face seriously looking at her. Whether a thing is valuable or not only depends on whether I need it or not. I need these things, so even if she is very common and not as rare as others, it is irreplaceable for me. Small 9 Wenleng suddenly understood what Cloud Dance refers to. At the moment, I blushed and knew that I had misunderstood her. Maybe even from the beginning, my idea about whether the baby is worth money was wrong. Small 9 low head, a charming face up a little bit of red, appears more charming, I know. Cloud Dance did not speak, looked up at the depth of the channel, said, the outer layer has been swept by us, then next we will go inside to have a look. After looking at it, Xiaojiu determined his position, and then he said, after passing the passage in front, he entered the inner layer of the tomb. From there, all the chambers are numbered. So it doesn't matter if you don't look. Anyway, it won't be long before you know all about it. While taking control of the tomb will be turned into a portable space, and everything inside will be known by then. Yunwu didn't expect to have this effect. It seems that there are many mysteries in this tomb. Otherwise, Xiaojiu won't say it incompletely at one time. On the contrary, he has to go through some hints to think of these key points. No hurry. Cloud Dance raised her hand and touched her chin, and said thoughtfully, those city masters should have just arrived at the center. We should slow down and let them have a good look. There are too many people here. If I get the tomb, I will be the target of public criticism. It's better to let them fight for a while, and then I can get away. Sister Yun is considerate. Can we go to another ear room now? Huolinger said with bright eyes. Even if we know that the tomb will be in the clouds sooner or later, the playful nature is still more willing to open the room one by one, just like exploring. Well, let's go. Cloud Dance says decisively, then continue to walk toward the depth. Small 9 helplessly stroked the next forehead, a pair of beautiful eyes full of helplessness. After thinking about it for a while, I decided not to mention some of the advantages of the tomb for the time being, so as not to disturb the interest of the previous 2 people in exploring. The center of the tomb. A white figure reached the center first. Why? Why is there no one? Long Qingxie looked around, and a surprise flashed across his face. No, according to the speed of small things, they should have been here long ago. Are they lost? This is the center of the tomb. Unlike other places, it is a huge square. In the middle of the square is an existence similar to the altar. A milky white group of light floats on the platform in the middle of the altar. The light flashes, connecting the group of light and the altar ground. If you look carefully in the past, you can find that there is a white jade card in the white light, as if through the jade card connected to what direction. If several city masters were here, I'm afraid there would have been a fight. Because that jade plate is the key to the inheritance, and it is also the biggest goal of several city masters in this trip. Jade plate contains powerful energy, which can directly promote a strong wuzong to the realm of Emperor Wudi. They cannot inherit the inheritance, but there are no restrictions on the use of this jade brand. Several city masters have been stuck in the Wuzong realm for a long time, and they can't break through the bottleneck, so they all put their thoughts on the jade card. As long as they get the jade card, they are afraid that the forces of the surrounding towns will have to shuffle again. Tut tut, I'm not afraid to be taken by others even if I put it here so openly. Long Qingxie came to the edge of the altar and looked at the milky light, but he didn't mean to start. Is the tomb of the ancient summoner so simple? He didn't have such an idiot to do it directly. If it wasn't for the person selected by the tomb owner, he was afraid that anyone who went would be killed. Long Qingxie then looked around, and finally carefully checked all around, recorded all the organs in his heart, and found nothing special. It seems that I came too fast. Long Qingxie said thoughtfully, there are all kinds of treasures along the way. Maybe something happens to the little guy. In that case, I'll help you get more treasure. Having said that, Long Qingxie walked towards the direction when he came. Unexpectedly, as soon as he started, a small team stood in front of him. Young Xia, please wait a moment. The man in black came up with a folding fan in his hand and a warm smile on his face. Long Qingxie glanced at him, and the look in his eyes was well hidden. This team has been following him since before, and I don't know what to do. Young Xia, We are the exploration team of Yulin Town. I'm not talented. It's Mulin, the young master of Yulin Town. I had a chance to see the skill of young Xia. I admire him and come here to get to know him. I hope I can form a team with you to explore in this tomb. Mulin said with a smile, as if he were really so friendly. Long Qingxia squinted at him. Yulin Town, young master, Mulin. He had heard something about it, but what he heard was what the people were talking about before they entered the tomb. By chance, he heard the name of Mulin, so he wrote it down. Although I don't know what happened at that time, I know there must be something unpleasant between him and the little guy. As long as it's unpleasant for the little guy, he won't be friendly. Before he could find Mulin, he came to find himself. Long Qingxia's eyes narrowed, and he had an idea in his heart for a moment. Team up. I'm afraid it's going to spoil your kindness. Long Qingxia said lazily, with a casual look, the things in this tomb have no attraction for me. I just come to find my friends, which is different from your purpose. After that, Long Qingxia is ready to go directly over Mulin. The clinker Mulin's eyes were brighter. Wait, if you want to find someone, you can do it. Our Yulin town is powerful and has a large population. If you can join us, I can ask my father to help you find someone. Long Qingxia's steps stopped, as if he was interested in Mulin's proposal. After a long silence, Long Qingxia's face shows an evil smile. The smile on the character's face amazes the man. In that case, thank you. Just don't know, your goal should be that thing. Long Qingxia raised his finger to the milky white thing in the center of the altar. What? Now that I'm here, don't do it. Mu Lin is a Leng, this just discovers oneself at this time unexpectedly already arrived the center of the grave. They followed Long Qingxia all the way, so even if they saw some ear chambers on the way, they didn't do it, which was much faster than others. In addition, with Long Qingxia, there were not so many obstacles, but unexpectedly, they were able to surpass all the people to come here directly. Mulin's eyes looked at the milky light, and there was a flash of greed in his eyes. Although it's important to deal with Cloud Dance, it's also very important to attract this man with extraordinary skill. But no matter what it is, it can't be compared with getting that jade medal. Thank you for reminding me. Mulin said, then winked at the people behind him. Although the heart is very eager for that thing, but also did not forget before leaving the city lord to his account. The jade plate is very important for the tomb. There must be many organs around it. If you see the jade first, you must be careful. This is the account given to him by the Lord Mu before he left. Now in front of Yupai, Mu Lin still hasn't forgotten, so he sent a man behind him to go forward. The man got the order, immediately nodded, and then went straight up. Long Qingxia's eyes glanced at Mu Lin carelessly, and he felt that this man was not so stupid. The man walked on the altar cautiously, for fear that he might touch the organ accidentally. But all the way, I didn't touch anything. I arrived at the milky light safely and looked at Mulin with a surprised face. Young master, there is no mechanism here. You can come directly. Do you want me to? Before the man finished, Mulin said, no. I'll take him. Come back. Yes, the man looked at the jade plate with nostalgia and tried to suppress the yearning in his heart. In fact, he wanted to get that thing, but he was afraid that he would be killed by the man beside him. Obediently back down, Mulin, eyes full of salivation, quickly walked to the milky light next to the group, looking at the jade inside. I can't believe that it's so easy to get you. Murin murmured, when my father gets you, I don't believe that those who dare to fight against me can still live. The figure of Cloud Dance came to Mulin's mind, and a murderous spirit flashed in his eyes. That woman dares not to give her face in public. She must make her life worse than death. So thinking, as if with power in general, Mulin directly reached out to the jade card. The man in white beside Mulin suddenly felt something and exclaimed, be careful, young master. However, it was too late. Mulin's hand had already touched the light group. The next moment, Just now or soft milky white light group, instant light, dazzling light filled the center of the square, people have closed their eyes. Then, with the light group as the center, a majestic force directly flicked Mulan away. The power is so great that Mulan has no backhand power. Bang! Have! Mulan was directly hit a far wall above, dull sound, then heavily fell to the ground. Young master! Young master! Young master! A cry of exclamation rang out one after another, and then all the people rushed to Mulan. The young man in white arrived first and helped him up from the ground. There was a surge of chi and blood in Mulan's chest. This fall was not light, but fortunately it didn't hurt. The energy was just strong, but it didn't kill him. The man who just went up to test was still scared. Fortunately, the young master didn't let him do it, otherwise it would be him now. This jade card is really not good, Mulan said with a frown. For a moment, everyone fell into silence. No one could think of a good way. In the quicksand tribe, blood has been flowing into a river. In the whole quicksand tribe, there are limbs and arms broken, bloody, and a mess. If someone comes in and sees this scene, they will spit it out disgustingly. Chi Yis shakes the blood on his sword and wipes the blood on his face. His eyes are all blood red. Looking at the outside world, it's all blood red. At this time, Chi Yis was possessed and killed every person he saw. All the women and children of the tribe were crazy, which made Chi Yis' heart completely devoid of compassion. And those men, like flies, now have 2 seriously injured people left. Although full of injuries, his eyes are full of excitement. It's really difficult for Chi Yis to fight with several men of the same strength. After one night, he shivers and can't hold the sword. Gasping and waving the heavy sword. Tired night, the sun has been projected from the eastern sky, the whole tribe instantly dyed orange. Chi was tired in body and mind. She looked at the eastern sky in a trance. She was dizzy and nearly fell down. The deep and shallow wounds on her body made her blood run away quickly. Lucky and angry, he patted one of them in front of him. He was surprised, but he was exhausted and couldn't dodge all night. He was shot by Chi Yis. He flew back and bumped into a tree, and suddenly lost his breath. At last, the man looked at Chi's ferocity and turned to flee to the tribe. Chi Knight cold face, no hesitation behind the man, together with the rapid toward the tribal center of the place. Until the sun has completely risen to the top of his head, the fiery sun makes Chi's Knight more trance. When he approaches the most bustling place of the tribe, he finds that there is still harmony in the tribe, as if he doesn't know that such a ferocious thing has happened outside the tribe. Chi's Knight color is bloody. He rushes in from the outside in a mess. The residents around him scream. Suddenly, the whole tribe center gathers here. Bad, it seems that they really don't know that the periphery has been slaughtered by themselves. He didn't dare to hesitate and almost killed him with his sword. Suddenly, a burst of heartbreaking screams, the hot day suddenly began. All the people ran around frantically, shouting for help. Chi Yis grabbed a man and wiped his neck with a long sword. In a moment, blood spattered. A woman nearby screamed and fell to the ground in horror. Chi Knight, holding a snake sword, came to the woman and said coldly, "Why didn't you be so afraid when you were eating human flesh?" The woman's frightened eyes full of tears, let Chi Knight have a moment of shaking, can't bear to turn around with a frown. But at this time, the woman suddenly laughed, almost jumped up and bit Chi Yi's arm hard. Chi Knight can't dodge, was bitten down by that woman, suddenly a sharp stabbing pain. Looking at the woman with a smile in her eyes, Chi Yi's eyes were cold. She stabbed the woman's heart with her sword. The woman had lost her life before she had time to hum, and her eyes lost their expression. Chi Yis grinned and covered his arm. Suddenly, he felt that it was more painful than the stabbing of the sword. Turned to look at everything around, countless men and women, eyes panic as if to see a monster looking at her. It made her very sad, but the thought of that woman's crazy behavior just now. Qi Yi's closed her mouth tightly, tore a piece of cloth from her body, tied her hand and sword tightly together, and stabbed a man's neck. The man turned pale with fright and rolled to the side, but the snake sword still rubbed his neck. The blood suddenly sprayed on Qi Yi's face, and then there was no sound. Qi Knight has been exhausted, forced himself to raise his legs and run toward the patriarch's residence. Along the way to see people killed, gradually, those women's cry and men's roar, let her no longer have any feeling. Further on, we have reached a downtown area. All the villagers are setting up stalls, with vendors among them. Children are running around among the vendors, laughing and laughing. For a moment, Qi Yi's was soft-hearted again. He sat down beside a wall, his whole body was aching. The battle of the night was too intense. When Qi Yi sat down, he had no strength to stand up. "Big sister, why are you sitting here?" Suddenly, a figure blocked the sunshine in front of him, which made Qi Yi's open his eyes and look at the small figure in the backlight. "Are you hurt?" The little shadow squatted down, curled up into A, looked up at Qi Knight's face, childlike eyes are pure. Qi Knight frowned, face complex, reach out to touch the child's face, light way, "Are you happy?" The child actually nodded very seriously, and said word by word, "We live here, especially happy. We have meat to eat every day, and we have good friends to play with every day." "Yes." Qi Knight bitter smile, sigh, rubbed the child's head way, "Sorry." The child looked up in confusion, but he didn't respond. Suddenly, there was a noise behind him, and then countless people yelled, "Kill!" A lot of people are dead outside. In an instant, Qi Yi's eyes are full of indifference. He raises his hand and cuts at the child's back neck. The child is still confused, so he has closed his eyes and fell down. Reach out to pick up the child, gently put it under the wooden steps of the shop in front of him, pick up his snake sword and run forward. The whole market was boiling. A bloody woman rushed towards the crowd. In the desert inn, Meng Bai and Jia Zhong go to the place in Jia Zhong's intelligence. The sun was scorching, and the two men were sweating profusely. Looking at the desolate desert ahead, Meng Bai could not help frowning. "Where are you talking about?" Jia Zhong breathed, wiped his sweat, pointed to the place where there was nothing in front and said, "It's not far ahead." The two men were silent, and walked towards the desert for a long time. Suddenly, in front of the desolate desert, a huge tribe suddenly appeared, but the door was empty. There was a bloody smell in the faint air, which stopped Meng Bai and Jia Zhong. "What's going on here?" Meng Bai frowned and went forward again. The closer he went, the thicker the smell of blood became. Meng Bai and Jia Zhong looked at each other and saw the inconceivable in each other's eyes. "Is it true that cannibal tribes have been slaughtered?" Jia Zhong yelled, offering his sword and galloping toward the tribe. "Oh, wait for me." Jia Zhong yelled and rushed to catch up. Just walked to the door of the tribe. I felt the dead silence of the whole tribe. "You see what I said, that woman in the realm of Emperor Wu must be hard to deal with. These guys must suffer this time." Meng Baixin said that this woman is so cruel. Not long after entering the tribe, Meng Bai saw countless broken limbs and arms scattered all over the place, and the blood flowed across the place. The tribe had a sense of killing. He felt even more nervous and ran forward. And the boy named Jia Zhong covered his mouth and vomited out. Looking around with red eyes, he said, "Who is this? So cruel." Even women. Meng Bai was silent and walked along the scarlet blood. Qi Yi thrusts her sword on the ground and looks around. It's all blood and corpses. Except for putting the children aside, there's no one alive. She gasps, but she doesn't dare to sit down because she doesn't know when someone will come. However, the dead silence around him, the girl named Shi Qiaoman, has not appeared yet. Qi Yi thought so, vomited breath, and sat down on the ground. At this time, her numb body suddenly gave out a strong pain, and countless wounds on her body made her pale. He sat down with his knees crossed in a hurry and entered the state of cultivation. He was ready to adjust his breath and heal his wounds. He looked inside his whole body. There was a sign that he wanted to break through. There was a faint worry in his heart. If he broke through in this state, he would have died before he suffered from thunder. Suddenly, I heard the sound of someone walking around. Chi Knight quickly opened his eyes, looked up to the front, quickly into the alert state. In front of her, a girl came slowly, wearing a pink skirt and a flowing belt. However, Chi Yi suddenly sank her face. This person is not Shi Qiaoman, and who is it? Difficult stand up, the sword in front of the body, the realm of stone Qiaoman, incredibly unfathomable, this let Chi Knight can't help but a little nervous. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. When Shi Qiaoman comes over, Chi Yi's can't help frowning because of the murderous gas all over his body. I didn't expect that I saved your life, and that's how you repay me. Chi Yi stood up nervously and stepped back 2 steps. This little girl is certainly not as simple as she seems. Shi Qiaoman stood in front of her, 1 or 2 parts away from her, no longer walking forward. You didn't save me because you wanted to kill me. Chi said coldly in the night, alert to the little girl in front of him. She didn't know why she was so careful with a little girl. In front of the stone Qiaoman, but don't speak, just a face of gloomy looking at her, but in both hands, but suddenly luck blue fighting spirit, toward Chi Yi's chest padded in the past. Chi Yi's heart is tight. He packs his whole body with fighting spirit. He raises his hand and claps it. It's right on Shi Qiaoman's hand. At the moment of relative strength, Chi Yi feels his whole body's blood boiling. Then, a mouthful of blood spurts out. He staggers back a few steps and almost falls down. This seemingly very young girl must not be so simple on the surface, because this person's realm is above herself. With that, Chi Yi has already rushed to Shikioman with his sword, and his whole body is wrapped in fighting spirit, attacking Shikioman. Meng Bai and Jia Zhong, at this time, have been aimlessly searching for the people of the tribe, and have never seen the woman who almost slaughtered the city in the realm of Emperor Wu, as Jia Zhong said. Why don't we go into the city? Jia Zhong said that they were just about to leave when they heard a fight coming from the other side of the city. They looked at each other and ran towards the city. Sure enough, as Chi Yi's expected, Shi Qiaoman is not really a girl. In the fight, Shi Qiaoman's face changes rapidly, and his face is wrinkled. In an instant, he becomes an old lady, which makes Chi Yi's gnash her teeth. You can't beat me, kid. I've eaten more salt than you have. Stone Qiaoman's voice has been hoarse and ugly, not as clear as before, and at this time she is also covered with wounds, although it does not affect her strength, but also a little inconvenient. Chi Knight to Stone Qiaoman attack, Yu Guang but suddenly caught a glimpse of the side dozens of meters away. There are 2 people standing there, Lengleng looking at this side. With a tight heart, one of them was still on top of himself. He couldn't find out at all. Chi Yi's didn't turn his head. He just yelled, "Who's that over there?" Meng Bai was on the side, looking at the bloody man in front of him strangely, but the man suddenly called out. For a moment, Meng Bai's eyes were full of light of hope. This voice is so familiar. Jia Zhong cut A, looking at the direction of Chi Knight. It should be this woman who slaughtered the tribe. You see her blood, also don't know how much hurt. Although I thought I was familiar with the voice, I couldn't remember who it was, so I rushed forward with my sword. But just before, Chi Knight is nervous, fly up a palm to split toward Jia Zhong's direction. Jia Zhong was startled and yelled, "I'm a good man. I don't eat people. We're here to help you kill the city." So, Chi Knight suddenly froze, turned to look behind. Seeing that Meng Bai's face had already appeared behind him, they were stunned and only heard Meng Bai shout, "Be careful." Suddenly he raised his sword and looked at Shi Qiaoman. Shi Qiaoman was beaten and staggered backward for several steps. He sat down on the ground. Meng Bai stood in front of Chi Yi's with his sword, but he couldn't help smiling at the corner of his mouth and said to Chi Yi's, "You heal quickly, I'll kill her." Chi Yi's, who has been fighting alone, suddenly sees his friend's face. He is moved. But he doesn't show anything on his face. He just nods and says be careful. He quickly crosses his knees and enters the cultivation state. Hello. I said Meng Bai. Do you know this woman? Jia Zhong stood in the distance, shouting. Chi Yi hears the sound, frowns, opens his eyes and looks to his side. Jia Zhong squats in front of him and looks at himself curiously. Well, yes. Meng Bai waves a sword and cuts at Shi Qiaoman. He sees that Shi Qiaoman has no power to fight back at all. He is beaten and retreats, and his mouth gushes blood. Chi Knight, then. With that, Meng Bai raises his hand and throws a porcelain vase. Chi Yi quickly raises his hand and catches it. He doesn't ask at all. He pours it out and puts it in his mouth to practice meditation. Meng Bai starts to smile faintly, but suddenly frowns again, because he sees that not far behind Shi Qiaoman, a large group of people suddenly rush over, men and women, young and old, with weapons, very angry. There are still people. Meng Bai murmured and flew up with his sword. Chi Yi is now in a state of relief. He is in a hurry to adjust his luck. At this moment, there is a sudden thunder cloud rolling in the sky. The whole tribe is shrouded in darkness. The sky is full of lightning. Meng Bai's eyes suddenly brighten and he looks at Chi Yi's. Don't worry, I'm here to help you break through. Suddenly Shikioman's side people beat back, fly to Chi Knight's side, and at this time, Shikioman's suddenly evil smile, stop people, did not catch up, just quietly watching. Meng Bai saw that Shi Qiaoman didn't catch up and didn't pay attention to it. The thunder might fall down at any time. With Chi Yi's current physical condition, it must be difficult to completely break through. With this in mind, Meng Bai sat on Chi Yi's side with his knees crossed and put his palm on her back to help her repair the damaged meridians and wounds in her body. Chi Knight suddenly a burst of relaxed, feel the strength of his body has been improved, hear the sound of thunder outside, suddenly came to the bottom. Shi Qiaoman sat on the ground and looked at them with a smile. She was waiting for the weakest time after the robbery. An instant thunder hit, let Chi Knight heart suddenly a shock, luck whole body fighting toward the thunder attack. See thunder hard hit, with huge energy, let Chi Knight complexion a white, spit out a mouthful of blood, continue to fight against thunder. Several thunders fell one after another, and the houses and land around the whole tribe cracked, which made people scared. Chi Knight is covered with blood, has been weak. Sitting not far away, waiting quietly, Shi Qiaoman has already stood up, offered his whip and walked slowly towards them. The last sky thunder strikes Chi Yi's fiercely. Chi Yi's heart sinks in an instant. He looks up at the sky, but Meng Bai suddenly ends up and runs towards Shi Qiaoman. And Shi Qiaoman suddenly waves the people forward and surrounds Meng Bai, but he flies to Chi Yi's in an instant. The last thunder, with a fierce momentum, instantly hit Chi Yi's and let her fly upside down. A mouthful of blood gushed out and she fell to the ground. In a trance, she suddenly saw Shi Qiaoman's figure appear in front of her. She squatted down and stretched out her hand to pick up her hair. Meng Bai anxiously fights with a large group of people, watching Shi Qiaoman approach Chi Yi's, frowning, these people are really difficult. Chi Yi's, who was caught with her hair, was forced to raise her head and look at the old stone Qiaoman's face in front of her. After this evening's exercise, your meat must be very delicious. The ferocity in Shi Qiaoman's eyes makes Chi's anger rise suddenly. He raises his hand and pats Shi Qiaoman, but Shi Qiaoman grabs it easily and bites it. Sharp teeth instantly pierce into the skin, let Chi Knight instant recovery of spirit, bite teeth, turn over, kick to stone Qiaoman's head. Shi Qiaoman doesn't let go. Chi Yi's arm seems to be bitten off by Shi Qiaoman. She purses her mouth and draws out the snake sword. A ferocious look appears in her eyes, and she is ready to cut down her arm. Suddenly, Shi Qiaoman roared and flew back. Meng Bai suddenly came to him and helped Chi Yi's up. Chi Knight is breathing heavily, the whole body trembles, the whole person hangs on Meng Bai's body. The tomb of the ancient summoner. It's the square in the center. Long Qingxia leans lazily on one side of the wall and looks at everything in front of him. His face is so light that it seems that no matter what happens, he can't get his attention. Young Xia, do you know that this jade metal is not so easy to get? Mulan suddenly turned to look at the dragon and said. Long Qingxia's face had no change of expression, as if it was not him who was questioned. His calm eyes were not half guilty to the sight of Shang Mulan. The grave left by the ancient summoner should always be on guard from the moment he comes in. Mulan's chest bet, Long Qingxia means, I just tell you what I see, remind you that what you want is there, but there's no need to remind you that there's danger there, you didn't expect to blame me? Although the meaning of Long Qingxia is not polite, the truth is true. No matter who it is, there is no reason to blame him. Two people just look at each other like this, Mu Lin in the heart directly also hated him up. Sure enough, it's not good to be friends with that woman. Mulan thought in his heart. But in order to be able to let Cloud dance hurt, but still stiffly endure down. As long as their own mischief has played a role, it may be able to win the two at one stroke. With that in mind, Mulan showed an apologetic smile and said with a smile, Young Xia, you're right. I didn't think about it clearly. Long Qingxia didn't say no, he didn't have the interest to remind him not to die when he saw the treasure. Young Xia, you are so far-sighted and calm in front of the treasure. I really admire you. Mulan calmed the breath of his chest, went to the dragon and said with a smile, the smile on his face was very kind. I just don't know if you have any way to take it down, Young Xia. On the face that Dragon Qing Xia grows quite evil for, pretty eyebrow is tiny to stir up, issued a doubt, oh? Seems to be surprised, why Mu Lin asked him. Mu Lin's face looked embarrassed. To tell you the truth, this jade card is very important to my father, so I have to get him. If you can help me, I can talk to my father. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.